Pacific Bellpark in San Francisco, California. ESPN presents the first in the Central Cardinals and the second-place Giants, wrapping up a 4-game series here by the Bay. And as we check the standings, these are two clubs that may be on a course to meet again in October. If the season ended today, the Cardinals would obviously win their division. San Francisco would take the National League wild card. And the way they're going after each other, it feels like October baseball. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Pac Bell. I'm Dave O'Brien along with Tony Gwynn. Delighted you're joining us on this beautiful day in San Francisco. And Tony, yesterday, a big win for the San Francisco Giants. Consider this. They didn't have Barry Bonds in the lineup or Reggie Sanders, J.T. Snow, or all-star catcher Benito Santiago. Instead, they got contributions in their first win in the series from guys like Tom Goodwin and Yorvit Torrealba. Not exactly household names. How important was that win for them?
Well, I think yesterday's win was a huge win for the Giants because, like you said, they've been scrapping, trying to score runs. And the Cardinals had dominated the first 2 games of this series, and yesterday was a huge win. They got a fine performance from Kurt Reeder, gave him 7 innings. And conversely, the Cardinals find themselves in a situation now where this is a big win for them. Andy Bennis gave them a strong 3 innings, but after that, they had to use a lot of guys in their bullpen. And on getaway day, when you're getting ready to go home to start a homestand, you'd like to come out and play your best baseball game. So today's a huge game for them.
The Giants get to stay here. The Dodgers are coming in next. So a long homestand continues, and a lot of young baseball fans get a chance to see the Cardinals and the Giants coming up in a moment.
ESPN Major League Baseball, brought to you by Old Navy. To shop online or find the nearest store, click on OldNavy.com.
And another sensational day here in Northern California. Beautiful weather conditions in San Francisco. Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien with you from Pac Bell Park as the St. Louis Cardinals prepare to leave this gorgeous area. They're heading home to St. Louis to take on the Chicago Cubs over the weekend. But Tony La Russa's ball club, in first place by 3.5 in the Central, probably feels like it's been on the road for 4 or 5 months anyway, because this is out of a 14-game span, their 12th road game. And looking to win the series outright. Here's Tony's lineup with Fernando Vina starting it off, their talented leadoff man. Polanco at third, Jim Edmonds in center. He was hitless yesterday. Pujols has been tremendous, 23 home runs. J.D. Drew gets a start in right. Edgar Renteria, the hottest hitter in the National League since the second half started, other than Pujols, and Jeff Kent. Robinson in left. Marrero does the catching. Travis Smith does the pitching, and up against the right-hander Ryan Jensen. And Tony, he is their winningest pitcher for San Francisco so far in 2002.
Yeah, I think when you look at their rotation, you would be surprised to see he's got 10 wins. Nobody else has 10 wins in that rotation. So he's come up. He's been a surprise, but you know, the thing about it, he's been pretty consistent all year long. Defensively
for the Giants, this is essentially Dusty Baker's bench today.
That's exactly right. Because of injuries and really just this is what he's got to go with. He's got to go with basically his bench in the majority of positions out there. And they deserve some credit because yesterday they were the ones that got this W along with Kurt Reeder. They got the W for the Giants.
Pulled out a 5-3 win, and San Francisco trying to split the series. Vina in, and we are underway on strike 1 from Ryan Jensen. Fernando Vina hitting .282, 1 homer. He's driven in 40. He has struck out just 24 times all season. One of the most difficult men to whiff in the National League. He averages about 6 strikeouts a month. I mean, that's Tony Gwynn territory. Puts this one in play, and Aurelia on to first base for the out. Rich Aurelia, one of the few regulars going for the Giants on this day. We check the umpires. It's Jeff Kellogg behind the plate. Jim Wolf at first, Jerry Meals at second, and Eric Cooper will make those calls at third base. St. Louis meeting the Giants for the 6th and final time today. They will not meet again during the regular season. They could meet again in October, but all of their regular season meetings have come in the last 8 days.
It's really, you know, and that's one of the, to me, one of the drawbacks of the type of schedule that they've gone to.
Polanco stings this one deep to left center, sailing into the alley. Goodwin on the run and is onto the track and up against the fence. Polanco for second and pulling up there with a double. All the way into the gap and touchdown on the dirt warning track out there in left center field. So Placido Polanco is into scoring position in front of the big bats.
Just looked like a first pitch fastball right down the heart of the plate. Polanco looking for something, been looking to be aggressive, drove it in the left center for a double. And much like yesterday's game, they had early opportunities to score runs and they didn't. today, once again, they get an opportunity here in the first inning with one of their hottest hitters coming to the plate.
Ryan Jensen, as mentioned, has been a hot pitcher. He's gone 4-0 in his last 5 starts. But he's facing the Cardinals, and that means Jim Edmonds for the first time this season. Jim hitting .319. He was 0 for 4 in the loss yesterday, however, and quickly has an RBI chance. He lays off the strike on the outside corner, 0-1, and Pujols is on deck.
We're talking about the schedule again. The Cardinals and Giants have hooked up in the last week for the only times they're going to hook up. Giants haven't played the Pirates yet, and they play on their next road trip here. And, you know, you'd like to get them out of the way early.
1 ball and 1 strike. The only shame of that between these two clubs is the games have been so entertaining.
They are, and they have been. And, you know, when you look at them, both of these teams are they're almost identical twins. I mean, both clubs are hitting .265 offensively. Their ERAs are pretty comparable.
They play excellent defense. Both clubs make very few mistakes. The pitching rotations are similar, not overpowering, although, of course, St. Louis has the big ace in Matt Morris. And today, a much different look for the San Francisco Giant lineup. You saw Aurelia, that's Shinjo. They're regulars, but Bonds unavailable, Sanders unavailable. Benito Santiago, his eyelid was swollen yesterday, had a sty in his left eye. Benito said, I would rather catch an entire game without the catching gear than try and play with this. That's how much it hurt him. And JT Snow is also battling flu-like symptoms. So they're a beat-up club right now.
They are. And like I said, Dusty Baker deserves some credit for just keeping these guys together and keeping them focused. But you know, when you're playing a 162-game schedule, sometimes you go through periods where you don't have it at all.
2-2. Did he check the appeal? He did not. That's strike 3. As Cooper says, he went. Edmonds unable to contain the swing. He strikes out, and there are 2 gone, and he disagrees. Walking away, shaking that head.
I don't think Edmonds really liked the called strikes on him in this particular at bat. But you know, when you're not seeing the ball real well, and then you take a kind of hack like that, you know, it looked like he went there, and he's got to go back to the bench, and now he's got a couple innings to think about that one at bat and try to get himself back together again.
He did not pick up the RBI. It's up to Pujols, who goes after the first pitch aggressively and fouls it away. And with men in scoring position, they got the right guy in the cleanup spot. He's hitting .330, 75 runs batted in, second in the National League. In the last 40 games, he's picked up 42 RBIs, and that's serious production when you're talking about better than an RBI a game. Polanco at second. Hit towards short. Up with it, Aurelia. Clean play, and off the bag. He's going to be safe. Minor had to reach for it, lunge for it. He came off first, so everyone's safe. Polanco into third. And so with the throwing mistake by Aurelia, who fielded it perfectly, but made the errant toss, the inning's still going.
It looked like Aurelia had plenty of time to set his feet and make the throw, and he just kind of let it get away from him. And nice base run in there by Pujols, so didn't just stay right down the line. He saw the ball was coming to the inside, and so he stepped to the inside.
And so it's still brewing for J.D. Drew, batting .264, 13 homers, 38 RBIs. LaRussa hitting him out of the 5 slot. Fouls the first pitch away for a strike. Drew went on the disabled list in late June with tendonitis in his right knee, patellar tendonitis. But when healthy, he's had some big moments this year for the Cardinals. The frustrating thing, and it's led to some trade rumors about J.D. Drew, is his inability to stay in the lineup for long stretches. 2 on, 2 out. Jensen's pitch almost gets by. Torrealba just saved a run there with a backhand stab in the dirt. That's a terrific play.
That was a nice play. You know, you're talking about J.D. Drew. Him not being able to be in the lineup on a regular basis is the only reason why I can figure out why they would even consider trading this guy. I think he's one of those young and upcoming guys who, if he can stay healthy, I think is going to be a dominant player in this league. I think he proved that you know, first half of last year, but unfortunately for him, he was injured last year too.
The 1-1 in there for strike. So Drew behind now. He's had 9 game-winning RBIs this season. That leads the club. Jensen sneaks in a strike here.
You know, and the other thing is that makes it tough for a guy like J.D. Drew is when you're not in there on a regular basis. You know, you kind of sometimes you lose your eye, your presence of the strike zone, knowing what's a ball and what's a strike. So
the strikeout, and Drew just gets a piece of it. He went with a breaking pitch and a pretty good one. And J.D. nudging a seam on the baseball to hang in there, just barely.
And that's one of those pitches where you're just hoping you can just foul it off and hope that you can get something, get another pitch that maybe you can handle a little bit better. But you know, this guy, I just think he's got a chance to be just one of the better players in this league.
The first inning scoring chance here for St. Louis. The 1-2 line into right center field. That'll bring in Polanco. It keeps on rolling in the alley. Pujols heading into third, and there he'll stop. An RBI single for Drew. His 39th run batted in, and it is 1-0 St. Louis.
Unlike yesterday, they got a scoring opportunity to take advantage of the error by Aurelia, and you know, good changeup out over the plate. J.D. Drew stays back on it long enough to just kind of serve it in the right center field and get the Cardinals an early run.
Playoff caliber clubs like St. Louis do this regularly. Edmonds couldn't pick up the RBI. He struck out. The 4-man Pujols reached on an error, but no RBI for him. And Drew on a 1-2 pitch is able to knock that base hit and bring in the run. But it always seems to be someone. In the first inning, they don't let that scoring opportunity pass.
That's, you know, and good, you described exactly right. Good teams, they find a way to get that run in, and it doesn't matter. You hope to have a banger in the middle of your lineup, but if it's a different guy, the better, because you need guys in your lineup to be able to step up to the plate and hit a good pitch and find a way to get that run home, and that's just what J.D. Drew did.
Well, here's a guy who's swinging such a hot bat right on the heels of the Drew single. Edgar Renteria, who just sprints up to the plate these days. That's his turn to hit. He's 7 out of 13 in this series. Loops this one over first, down the line. Minor giving chase, but that's off into the track. A nice play made. And by a Giant fan. Fully decked out today with the cap going, the baseball jersey.
No question who he's pulling for today.
And another sensational day, Chamber of Commerce Day here in San Francisco. Renteria scalding the ball in July. 408. Raising that average over 300. Checked his swing on a high heat. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jensen throws about 90-91 with a top end fastball. There's a changeup, a slider, and a curveball, which is actually a knuckle curve. He's been very, very effective as of late after going 5 and 6 in his first 13 starts. Just trying to get out of the first inning here with 1 run, and it's popped up. Renteria hits it into right. Kent on the back pedal, taps the glove, and he has it for the 3rd out. But J.D. Drew banks a single to drive in a run. The Cardinals had 1-0, and here come the Giants in the first inning. The St. Louis Cardinals trying to win this series 3-1. Have taken a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom half of the first inning at Pac Bell. And for the San Francisco Giants, going with a lineup today that does not have Barry Bonds or Reggie Sanders, J.T. Snow or Benito Santiago in it. The Giants with 124 home runs, leading the National League, but without a lot of big lumber today. Goodwin kicks it off. Jeff Kent hitting .339. That's 3rd in the National League. Shinjo in center field. Yorba Torrealba had a very good day yesterday. Had a big RBI. He does the catching. And up against the right-hander Travis Smith. He is 3-1, and Tony trying to recover from a 15-6 whipping that he suffered Saturday. He was pelted by the Pirates. 7 earned runs, 8 hits in that start.
And especially after the start that they had yesterday from Andy Bennis, where they had to go to the bullpen early. You need 6-7 innings today from Travis Smith, and he's not a guy that's going to overpower you, but he is a guy that can throw a lot of strikes or change speeds in the strike zone. So for him today, it's an important start. He needs to get off to a good start, much like Andy did yesterday, and throw strikes.
Goodwin, the leadoff hitter, shows bunt and takes ball 1. Smith is the man who stepped in when Darryl Kyle died tragically at the age of 33, and it's Darryl Kyle's spot in the rotation that Smith now tries to fill. A .656 earned run average coming into this one. His last start was ugly, just 3 innings, and the Pirates, not an offensive machine exactly. They battered him. 2-1 on Goodwin. Sean Dunston up next. Polanco in on the grass at third, but it's fly toward left, and it'll keep on sailing out of play. A nice crowd on hand. The game starting very early in baseball terms. This game at 12:30 Pacific time.
One of those businessmen specials. And it's, in baseball terms, it's the getaway day special. When you've got to do some traveling, usually you love to play that day game so you can get back at a decent out.
The Giants averaging just a hair under 40,000 a game. So among the best attended ballparks in baseball. And if you ever get the chance to come on out and watch a Giants home game, by all means do that. Don't let that opportunity pass, because it's a spectacular place to see a game. In there for call strike 3. Goodwin tried to jackknife, but he gets caught looking. 1 out. Defensively now for the St. Louis Cardinals, Eli Marrero catches today, but he can do a whole lot more than that. He has started games behind the plate and also all 3 outfield spots. He has played first base as well this season, not in a starting capacity, but that means, Tony, he's played 5 positions for Tony La Russa.
And that's the versatility that Tony La Russa really likes, having guys who could play different positions. And so late in the game, he can move you around. You know, maybe you go from left field to right field to first base, maybe first base to third base.
Those aren't spikes he wears. Those are wheels underneath those shoes. They just put him on wheels and move him around. Sean Dunston, the hitter. 200 with a homer, 6 runs batted in. He was 1 for 5 yesterday, but did come up with a big RBI in a 5-3 Giant win. Curveball in for strike.
And Travis Smith is not a big guy. He's, for pitcher standard, he's not a 6'3", 205 guy. He's more like 5'11". And he's not going to, like I said, he's not going to overpower you. He's going to mix it up, go in and out.
Yep, 5'10 and a half, 165 pounds.
So that's, that's down there in Pedro territory. Only Pedro's got nitro for a right arm. Travis Smith doesn't have that kind of stuff, so he's going to have to pitch. He's going to have to be smart.
Nobody on, 1 out. First inning, 1-0 St. Louis. The 39-year-old Dunston checks his swing. Sean Dunston, a guy who's been around a long time, since breaking in with the Cubs. He has appeared in 3 National League Championship Series, but he has never appeared in a World Series.
There's some guys in the Giant dugout who would like for all of that to change.
He rockets the 2-2 pitch, and a drop for a base hit. And Dunston is on. And he just crushed it.
The thing I really like about Dunston is that he still plays the game hard. He came out of the box flying. If Edmonds had made a mistake, he'd have tried to go for 2, and that's what you like.
Yesterday, Rich Aurelio with a home run. His 8th of the year as he knocked it into left center field and gone. That's something the Giants need a little bit more of now, especially with Sanders and Bonds unavailable because of those hamstring injuries. They're really going to have to rely on Rich Aurelio, who is not completely healthy. He says that wrist and that elbow continue to bark at him on occasion. And he missed some time because of that surgery to the elbow, arthroscopic surgery, and some bone chips in there. He admitted yesterday occasionally it still does give him a little trouble, but he also knows that he needs to pick it up, and Kent needs to pick it up in the power categories with some of the big bats missing right now.
Yeah, and when we talked to him yesterday, he said exactly that. So there are going to be days where that elbow's not going to be feeling real good, but you got to do what you can to try to help your team win. And it's kind of like the team model right now with all the injuries that they have. Everybody's got to really step up their game a little bit. But getting him going, getting his power back, getting him to hit the ball out of the ballpark would really help this ball club, because yesterday's game really turned on after he hit that home run. Andy Bennis's approach really changed after the home run.
Dunston takes off. Here's the throw by Marrero. It's into the outfield. Dunston up, racing to third, and Edmonds will hang on to the baseball. So Marrero fires it into center. Dunston winds up at third, and now all it takes is a fly ball of decent depth, and it'll tie up the ball game here in the first inning.
I tell you what, when you watch him run the bases, it's hard to tell he's 39 years old. He got a great jump. Marrero's throw went towards the first base side of the bag, and I think he rushed that throw because Dunston got such a great jump. And now Dunston finds himself at third, so here's another run scoring opportunity for the Giants early in the game.
Aurelia has driven in 30. His last stolen base was almost a year ago, and when you're 39, that's not a bad pace. Down low for a ball. I mean, you know, one a year, one every couple of years.
Yeah, that'll keep them happy, especially in this situation where they just gave up a run. You know, to turn right around and get another run scoring opportunity. If you're gonna steal one a year, that was a good time to steal.
Jeff Kent on deck. One down and a 2-1 pitch from Smith, and he trickles a foul. Sean Dunston saying the other day that, remember, he played for the St. Louis Cardinals the last couple of years. He still keeps in regular touch with Fernando Vina, Jim Edmonds, and some of the other guys he played with. He says, I know they're doing well, and I know they're going to win their division, and I hope we beat them in the playoffs. The way these two clubs have gone against each other over the last 8 days, fitting all the regular season games in an 8-day span. I mean, you really look forward to the possibility of them squaring off in October. And if the season ended right now, of course, the Cardinals would win the Central, and the Giants would win the wild card.
Yeah, and I think you know, when you do square up, it gives you a chance to see how good the other team is.
And into foul territory, pull hole, so that won't get it done. Dunston has to stay at third base, 2 down. Sean Dunston, 39 years old, but hustling big time. And up and flying into third. And a couple of Superman dives on that play.
And that's the way he's always played the game as long as I've known him. He's always played the game hard, always been one of those guys that, as an outfielder, you knew that when he got a base hit, you had to get it and get it back in a hurry because he was always looking to pick up an extra 90 feet.
Here's Kent hitting .339, 16 homers, 59 runs batted in. As you see the batting average, trailing only Larry Walker and Barry Bonds. Dunston at third, 2 away, and Marrero asking for time. He stands up, and Smith will stroll out behind the hill.
Already today, Travis Smith has not been afraid to throw his changeup and get guys out on their front foot.
And swings up the middle he goes, but not too hard hit. Vina there with a stop, and the inning is over. The Giants get a man to third, but strand him right there, and it's still 1-0 St. Louis. We've played an inning in San Francisco. St. Louis 1, the Giants nothing, as we bring you to the top half of inning number 2. And this afternoon here in the middle of the summer, a lot of kids at the ballpark on a pristine Thursday at Pac Bell. Sunshine, blue sky. And Kerry Robinson in the batter's box. So it's 7, 8, and 9 up against Ryan Jensen, who gave up a couple of hits and could not pitch around an error by a shortstop in the first inning. So St. Louis jumped out in front. Has to be a great thrill for Kerry Robinson. He was born in St. Louis, and now he's wearing the Cardinal uniform. He played his high school ball in that area. He graduated from Southeast Missouri State. His dad played some pro ball in the Cardinal organization in the late 60s. And here he is playing for the hometown team.
And it's I'm sure he's got to be thrilled, but you know, he's reached the dream of getting to the big leagues, and now you know you want the opportunity to play every day, show people what you can do.
And right now, part-time player, hitting .262 with a homer and 7 RBIs. And we've had a bunch of Cardinal games this season on ESPN, and in virtually every series. He's done something like that. Just ripped the ball. The ball jumps off Robinson's bat. Good speed, but he slams on the brakes, content with a single. So a man on. Tonight here on ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern, we've got a boxing special. 2 undefeated challengers, Robert Allen and Tito Mendoza, spar in a 12-round IBF middleweight eliminator bout from Chester, West Virginia. And for more information, log on to ESPN.com. It's Lucille getting a little boxing in during the game. The San Francisco Giants mascot. Of course, we're right on the bay. McCovey Cove right behind the right field fence. That's the Pacific Ocean. Barry Bonds finds time after time after time.
And out of those 20 splash hits that they have out there, I'm sure he's done most of the damage.
Won't be doing any the rest of this series or this homestand. Bonds unlikely to play until Monday at the earliest. Eli Marrero takes a strike. Although before the game, Bonds was in the outfield once again, doing his lateral movement drills with his trainer and Stan Conte, the San Francisco Giants trainer, working Barry out again and checking out that hamstring. A pitch out, and Robinson is staying right where he is at first base.
Yeah, when Barry was out there working out today, he looked better today than he looked when he was at the plate the other day, or when he came out yesterday to do his exercises. He looked pretty good, but it's a different kind of workout doing the exercises that he was doing and getting out and trying to play.
Robinson runs, and it's foul, tipped at the plate. And Kerry Robinson had an excellent jump, probably would have had it stolen. But earlier today, during batting practice, Barry Bonds working out that hamstring. They were doing some of those drills, a little slip there, but they were doing some of those drills where Barry was trying to explode as you would out of the batter's box. He was a little tired at the end of it. Peter McGowan, Giants owner, greeting him to see if everything went okay. And you know when the owner is coming down to the dugout that it's a big deal. Swung on and missed for strike 3. He got him. And so Marrero is disposed of. Second strikeout of the day for Jensen.
One thing they just couldn't simulate was the speed. As you see a breaking ball, Eli Marrero out in front. You know, the one thing with those workouts that Barry was going through you can't simulate is the burst that you need in the game of baseball, whether it's coming out of the batter's box or trying to steal a bag or trying to go first or third. That's the one thing that's really hard to simulate when you're doing those exercises. And so they're going to still keep a close eye on it.
Well, Travis Smith trying to hook up with Jose Oquendo, the third base coach, and get the verbal sign. He's having some trouble seeing what was going on here. You would think a bunt play.
I think Q just went down and told him, look, man, the situation kind of speaks for itself right here. You know, we're going to ask you to move him up.
Robinson runs, and a good bunt dropped down. Minor will field and throw. Kent covering for the out. Robinson safely into second base. So Smith puts down a sacrifice. Now a runner at second base for Fernando Vina.
Cardinals have done a good job giving themselves up when they need to. Travis Smith squares, puts the ball right where he needs to put it. Gives Fernando Vina a chance to add another run with 2 outs. See, if you're a manager, you love, I mean, getting a 2-strike base hit or 2-out base hit here and driving in a run. These are like, you know, these are like gold nuggets. They just don't happen often enough. So when you get them, I mean, they turn out to be huge.
And you get the best RBI leadoff man in the National League trying to do exactly that. Vina with 40 runs batted in. 0 for 1 on the day. He's grounded to short. I'll tell you what, the Cardinals have to be dying to get back home. They're ending a 7-game trip today. It started in Pittsburgh, now to San Francisco. But they actually, for them, it's actually a 14-game trip because they had just a 2-game stopover in St. Louis last Wednesday and Thursday. Hardly a homestand.
No, I just don't understand that to be. I mean, you're basically going home to get your dry cleaning done before you go back on the road again. And
Tony La Russa didn't even do that. He said, I'm not even unpacking the suitcase.
Really? I mean, it doesn't make much sense other than just to go home to play those 2 games.
Robinson at second. softly trickled. Minor right there near first base. Puts him away, and the side's retired. So despite the leadoff single, no harm to Jensen. One man left. It's still 1-0 the Cardinals. Second inning, 1-0 St. Louis. And coming up on Sunday, it's Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. These St. Louis Cardinals will be hosting their ancient rivals, the Chicago Cubs, at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. It'll be John Miller and Rick Sutcliffe, who is subbing for Joe Morgan. The Hall of Famer Joe Morgan is in fact at the Hall of Fame for the ceremonies at Cooperstown. And so Rick Sutcliffe will do his usual spectacular job subbing for Joe, and that's coming up on Sunday. And boy, they've played a lot of games against each other, haven't they? The Cubs and the Cardinals, 2,000 games.
Hard to believe they're that close. I mean, that's not a whole lot of games difference between the two teams.
4-4 this year in the series. Damon Minor starting the bottom of the second inning, and then it's Pedro Feliz and Toyoshi Shinjo for the Giants. They try and get even here against Travis Smith. And you know, that series, as great as it's been over the years, as long as it has been, the Cardinals and the Cubs, it was of course tinged by tragedy at Wrigley Field this summer. The ground ball to Pujols, and he'll set down Minor for the first out. And of course, it was in Chicago where Darryl Kyle passed away suddenly at the age of 33. And the Cubs organization handled it with tremendous class and dignity. The man pitching today for the Cardinals is the guy who took over Darryl Kyle's spot in the rotation. Travis Smith, 4 years younger than the man he replaced. Kyle was 33 at the time of his death. Darryl was a great big fella, 6'5", 212 pounds. As Tony pointed out earlier, Travis Smith more of a Pedro Martinez style, 5'10", 165 in terms of his makeup. Kyle, certainly an ace style pitcher, number one. A chopper by Feliz. Polanco back and throws him out. For Travis Smith, well, this is his 4th season of pro ball. He had made just one big league appearance as a professional, just 2 innings with Milwaukee back in 1998. So it's been a longer road for him getting to the big leagues than it ever was for Darryl Kyle. Both he and Darryl Kyle became fathers for the first time in 1997. Travis's son Skyler and Darryl's twin son and daughter Cannon and Sierra, now 5 years old. So some similarities, a lot of differences between the two. Shinjo takes a pitch outside. He's hitting just .235 with 8 homers, 32 driven in, batting for the first time today against Smith.
I think one of the things that get to it after this pitch.
Lined into left field, into the corner. Robinson will try and cut it off. He does. Shinjo wants to. Here's the throw by Robinson. It is behind second base. Shinjo sliding in, and you wonder if he's a little shaken up. Very slow to rise and not up yet. A double for Shinjo. Robinson got to it so fast that Shinjo had to really turn on the jets around first, and may have hurt himself in the process.
Hanging breaking ball with Robinson. Did get to the ball so fast. Well, it looked like he might have pulled something too going around first. But you know, one of the points I was going to make with the death of Darryl Kyle, a guy like Matt Morris, Woody Williams, because Darryl Kyle was a take charge type of guy, and he really, you know, looked after the young players, the young pitchers in that pitching staff. A guy like Matt Morris and Woody Williams now have to assume that role and you know, kind of guide a guy like Travis Smith through this tough period that he's going through. Because when you're out there trying to learn on the fly and pitch to major league hitters, it's a very difficult job.
Yorvit Torrealba, the batter, and the Venezuelan catcher takes a strike. And you add to that all the trade rumors that have been circulating around the Cardinals. Of course, they've just acquired Chuck Finley, but there are those who believe they're not done. And if you're Travis Smith, you know your spot in rotation may be up for grabs.
Absolutely. And so your job is to focus in on what you have to do today. Don't worry about.
Torrealba tries to shoot it up the middle, off the glove of Renteria, but it trickles into center field. Shinjo will try and score, and he will. But he does look like he's nicked up. He took the turn awkwardly around third base, glanced into the outfield to see how far it had rolled, but a little bit gingerly coming off the field after scoring the tying run. It's 1-1.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that his leg was bothering him, because if Renteria doesn't slow this ball up by having it come off his glove, he didn't even think he was going to even try to score. And you know, luckily for him, that ball was slowed up by Renteria's glove, and it gave him a chance to score. Otherwise, I don't think he even attempts to score.
Yeah, and he's going right down the steps into the tunnel and headed for the clubhouse. The last thing Dusty Baker needs right now is another injured Giant. That may be the case. Now, it's possible, and we don't want to speculate until we get word on it, but it might just be a cramp or something. But if it's a hamstring, the Giants are going to need a training room just for injured hamstrings, the way it's going with Sanders and Bonds. And we'll see what's up with Shinjo. Ryan Jensen stings it, slowed down by Smith. Vina will flip to Renteria for the first play, retiring the side. But on the strength of a pair of 2-out hits, the Giants have tied it up. It'll be Edmonds and Pujols, the big bats, due up for St. Louis in a moment. Back in San Francisco, top of the third inning, Dusty Baker has just tied up the ball game. His Giants in a 1-1 knot, but he has just lost Shinjo. He's already lost Bonds and Reggie Sanders over the past week to hamstring injuries, and he is beside himself after this spate of injuries and looking for that hotline to the Fresno Grizzlies, the AAA club. They need some help. Ramon Martinez will enter the game in left. Tom Goodwin will move from left to center. And Bonds and Reggie Sanders had better get healthy quickly, because Shinjo is out of the ball game, and as soon as we get an update, we'll pass it along to you. On to the third here. Placido Polanco will lead it off for St. Louis. He doubled and scored the Cardinal run in the first inning. His batting average at .289. Dave O'Brien, Tony Gwynn on a sun-drenched afternoon here in San Francisco. And you can feel that undercurrent of tension inside the San Francisco dugout with all the players they're losing. And even the guys who are in the lineup, guys like Jeff Kent and Rich Aurelia, they're not feeling 100%.
And I wonder if this puts the Giants in a position where they might have to think about, you know, making a deal, where they have to make a deal and have to go out and get another outfielder. Because if Shinjo's going to be out for any extended amount of time, it puts them in a position where, at the very least, they're going to have to call somebody up.
Well, they're playing guys in the outfield who never even played there before in the majors, as you saw Ramon Martinez now in left field, his first big league appearance in the outfield. The Giants offense has suffered with the injuries, and that's a huge drop. If that continues over the last 7 games, if that continues for the rest of the season, the Giants won't make the playoffs.
I don't think so. Not in this division, at least. I mean,
up and in, off the glove of Torrealba. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's Polanco, Edmonds, and Pujols in this inning.
I think what it does, though, is it brings the other teams in the wild card race. It brings them right into the race too. And, you know, as you can see, the Giants won yesterday, but before that, we're struggling. And the Mets and the Reds are starting to make a move and play pretty good baseball.
Well, that got him. Polanco gets drilled by Ryan Jensen, and so that's how the third inning begins for St. Louis. Placido Polanco will take his base.
It's a tailing fastball that kind of got away from him.
Looked like he got a lot of the jersey, but maybe some of the rib cage. And what's the worst place to get hit, Tony?
By a thrown pitch, I think, like in the leg, in the shin. You know, if you're going to get hit, you'd love to get hit in the behind, you know, up in the back, upper back.
Someplace where there's a little meat.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You get hit in your toe. I mean, I can't tell you how many broken toes you had, fouling balls off and balls bouncing and ricocheting, hitting you right in the shin. I mean, there's nothing worse than that, because there's not enough meat around those bones, and there's nothing you can do.
Edmonds 0 for 1. He struck out in the first. The first 2 games of the series, Jim homered. He went for one there, but missed it. How about getting hit at the point of the elbow? I mean, you know, when I'm walking through the kitchen and I knock my elbow, you know, up against the countertop. I mean, isn't that just the same thing?
Yeah, that hurts
exactly
too. But that one, you get over that one,
yeah.
you know, pretty quickly. I mean, that's one of those 5-minute pains that you can kind of shake off. But you ask anybody about getting hit in the shin, fouling a ball off your shin, and you know, being able to read Rawlings on your on your skin afterwards. Yeah, those stick with you for a little while.
Polanco getting his lead, a short lead at first. Edmonds tries to go the other way and knocks it foul. Not uncommon to see in a series where he's hitting home runs. Edmonds knock one out to left, and then the next night drive one out to right. And on Tuesday night he just hit a colossal home run here, which went up and over what they call the arcade in right field and almost into McCovey Cove.
And I think that's what he's going to have to do. I thought Reeder did a good job of keeping him off balance yesterday. And today, Ryan Jensen staying away from him. He threw the one pitch in the middle of the plate that Edmonds swung and missed, but for the most part, he's staying away from him. And so pretty soon, Edmonds is going to realize that's what's going on, and he's going to have to go with the ball instead of trying to pull it.
He was 0 for 4 yesterday, and the Cardinals loss. The 1-2. Line drive caught. No throw by Aurelia to first base. Polanco scooted back in. So Edmonds is 0 for 2. And they have quieted him a little the last 2 games. 0 for his last 6. 1 away, and Pujols will bat.
I think Edmonds might have got that ball right off the cup of his bat. He didn't. It was a soft line drive to shortstop, but the ball wasn't really hit that hard.
First time up for Albert. He reached on an error by Rich Aurelia, a throwing error. So 0 for 1 today and 2 for 11 in the series. But over the last 24 games, he's been killing it. 337, 7 homers, 25 RBIs in those 24 contests. When this guy heats up, he can put a club right on those big shoulders and carry them.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what he did last week. I mean, he was carrying the load for them, and this week Edmonds picked it up and helped him out. But I mean, those are consistent numbers he's putting on the board.
That's right through that Ryan Jensen pitch.
He took a hack at that like he thought it might have been hit and run. He kind of came up out of his shoes on this ball and then took a very subtle glare down to first base like, hey, maybe that was a hit and run, and you didn't see it. But
yeah, and then he glanced down at Oquendo, the third base coach, after he stepped out.
And so maybe he was the one who maybe misinterpreted the sign. But I think there was something on that first pitch, and somebody might have missed something.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out.
For a young hitter, though, I mean, it's amazing how he doesn't let things affect him, and that's very surprising for a guy in his second year. He just focuses in and tries to get the job done.
He pops up and playable. In comes Minor, looking up into the sunshine to Griffith. And the first 2 times up, Pujols has gone hitless with a man on base. 2 down. J.D. Drew coming up. Oh, what a day to be sailing on San Francisco Bay. The city of Oakland out in the distance. The Giants play a whole lot of day games here, which is a great idea, and continue to get terrific crowds at Pac Bell. Drew taking a strike. He came up with a big RBI single with 2 out in the first inning. That plated Polanco to run at first base right now.
Yeah, there's some pretty good baseball being played in the Bay Area here this year. Both teams playing really good baseball.
On the changeup, Drew lets it go. I mean, if you were confined in an office today, or if you were home from school, with school out, this is the place you'd be, right?
I would think so.
At all costs, you'd find a way to get here today. Temperatures in the 60s, sunshine, blue sky, fly to left, moving over Martinez. Let's see how he handles this chance. And he makes the catch flawlessly. His first major league appearance in the outfield, and a job well done. One man left. It's tied up 1-1 in the bottom of the third. Cardinals 1, Giants 1. Bottom half of the third inning from Pac Bell, and it's the top of the order for San Francisco. Tom Goodwin, then Sean Dunston, and Rich Aurelia. First ball swinging. Pujols handles it and feeds Smith for the out. Goodwin retired on one pitch. He's gone. And we go back to the last half inning. We talked about Ramon Martinez, longtime infielder. This was after he had come in after making his first catch in the outfield. Rob Ned congratulating him on the effort.
Just, you know, you got to be nervous, too, playing the outfield for the first time in a game situation. I'm sure, you know, you go out in batting practice and take balls. But that first one that goes up, and this is a tough part for the left fielder to kind of break into your first game in the outfield in too. And, you know, the guys give them the business. That's what they do. They make it, they try to make you feel comfortable, but at the same time they're going to give you a hard time about it too.
Well, filling Barry Bonds' spot in the outfield, at least for now. So Yoshi Shinjo left the game as the center fielder because of injury. We're awaiting a report on his status. Bonds out with a hamstring strain. Same deal with Reggie Sanders. So the Giants right now are a bit of a mash unit. Dunston 1 for 1 with a base hit and a stolen base in the first inning. 39-year-old Sean Dunston stealing one. Muscles that by the mound, but Vina gobbles and throws to get him. So quickly 2 out. Smith looking for a fast third inning. This has been the story of the Giants season as of late. Marvin Bernard, who is out with injury on the crutches.
And Dusty had said that this was a guy he'd like to play Marvin a lot at the second half of the season, because with the hot weather, the dog days coming, you know, he felt like he was a guy that played a whole lot better after the break than he did before the break. And so you get him injured now, a hamstring trio with the rest of the outfielders in Bonds, Shinjo, and Reggie Sanders. And they're really behind the 8 ball now. They've got to put themselves in a position where, at the very least, you got to call somebody up. But it's going to make you think about maybe making a deal and maybe trying to get a guy, an established guy, to help you down the stretch.
Well, Bernard's injury a little more serious than some of the others. Torn cartilage in his left knee.
You know that one very well.
Yeah. Really, he takes a ball. He's popped out 0 for 1. So Marvin getting around on the crutches. No crutches for Bonds or Sanders or any of the other guys, but we're trying to get them back and into the lineup within the next week. The 2-0 along the corner for a strike.
Travis Smith is just living on that outside edge and then changing speeds off that outside edge, and he's got guys a little bit out in front today.
Three and 1. Now, he hasn't walked anybody yet. He did give up a single in the first inning, 2 hits, both with 2 out in the second inning, and that cost him a run. And the guy who's really picked up the Giants the last 2 days, Yorvit Torrealba, with another RBI single. He was a key man for them yesterday. A full count as Aurelia. That's the 3 and 1 go. If he should reach, Jeff Kent will bat next.
This is a guy you really got to be careful with, because we found out yesterday he was a guy that changed the game really with the home run in the 4th inning. And so
payoff pitch, got him looking. Aurelia flipping the bat. He thought he had ball 4. It started off to first, but Smith strikes him out, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for the right-hander. Still tied 1-1. Seems whenever the Cardinals and the Giants play this season, it's a close game, and it's tied 1-1 as we go to the top of the 4th inning. Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien from Pacific Bell Park, San Francisco Bay. Edgar Renteria 0 for 1 as he begins the 4th inning for the Cardinals, and he's 3 hits short of 1,000 base hits in his major league career. Edgar about to turn 27 years old. You remember how young you were, at what age you got to that level, and how meaningful was it for you, Tony, when you reached 1,000 base hits?
I think I got to 1,000 right around the same age, 27 years old. And at the time, I knew that once I got to 1,000, that I was going to try to get to 3. But when you're starting out, you don't even think you're going to get to 500, let alone 1,000. So.
Yeah, but I remember when you reached 3,000 hits a couple of years ago, you talked about your father, and your dad had predicted when you began your major league career that you were going to get a 3,000 hits.
That's true. My dad thought that I was going to be talented enough to do that. And when you're starting out in the game, you never think you're going to be able to do something that only great players are able to do. But early on in my career, I kind of felt like I had that kind of style of hitting that I would be able to put hits on the board. And I got my 1,000th hit off Nolan Ryan. And so, you just felt like, okay, I got to do this for 10, 12, 13 more years. You didn't know exactly how long it was going to take, but you knew you had to play a long time if that was going to be your goal.
But what a kick, though, off Nolan Ryan.
Well, it was off Nolan Ryan. It was like a little blooper that Jose Cruz lost in the lights in San Diego. But on paper, it looks real good. I got my 1,000th hit off Nolan Ryan.
It's a 300-foot line drive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who cares? But it's Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, it is. And so, yeah, it's for young players out there when they're just starting their career, I mean, you have to make that commitment. If that's, if 3,000 hits is what you want to do, you're going to have to work hard to be able to do it.
3-2 pitch, flying to left center field. Pretty well hit, but Goodwin will have time to get there for the out. So Renteria is 0 for 2. Let's go back to the last pitch Richard really has struck out on.
Now, that's the pitch before. That's the 3-1 pitch that sets up. Started that ball off the plate and ran it back in the middle. This one, he starts off the plate and runs it off the outside corner. And, you see a ball that starts on the outer third and runs back to the middle. At 3-1, you start it off the plate, you're not going to think it's going to run back over the plate. It looked like it nipped off the outside corner.
He thought he had ball for it. Smith and Jensen, pretty close.
I'm sure both pitching coaches like the fact there's no walks.
Fly ball center field. And actually, the wind knocks it back toward the infield, and Aurelia with the catch. So 2 fast outs to begin the 4th, and that'll send up Eli Marrero. Ryan Jensen 10-6 coming in with a .416 earned run average. Over his last 5 starts, he's been perfect, 4-0. Boy, have the Giants needed that kind of a pick-me-up with all the other injuries that have been bedeviling them. Marrero struck out his first time. He fouls it straight back with a good cut, strike 1.
Yeah, especially for the Giants, especially knowing that it's going to be tough putting runs on the board. It's going to be hard to string together 3 or 4 hits in an inning to put runs on the board. Your pitching is what's going to have to keep you in the ball game until you can get healthy again.
Hit sharply, but Aurelia hoovers this one up. Side retired. And a crisp inning for Ryan Jensen, who gets him 1-2-3. Jeff Kent coming up to swing. He'll lead off the inning for San Francisco. Time for the home half of the 4th inning. St. Louis won and the San Francisco Giants won. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern on ESPN, you can relive Major League Baseball history. Catch a preview of the MLB moments that fans will vote the most memorable in baseball history. Vote for your most memorable moment at every Major League ballpark or on MLB.com. You decide, because after all, these moments also belong to you. Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien with you from San Francisco as Jeff Kent leads off the 4th inning. 0 for 1 today. He's grounded to short off of the right-hander Travis Smith. Tony, you grew up in Southern California and born in Los Angeles, saw a lot of Dodger games and saw plenty of Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. Talk about great Major League moments. You saw more than probably your share as a kid.
I did. I was really lucky. I saw Don Drysdale continue his streak, his scoreless streak against the Giants. I was one of those kids that were there that night when I think Dick Dietz was the hitter, stuck his arm out on a 3-1 pitch. In
there for a strike 3 call. So Kent, he shows what he thinks the strike zone is of Jeff Kellogg. Not too pleased with how wide it is. Gets rung up for the first time today.
So yeah, that's 2 hitters in a row here. Smith starts this ball off the plate and runs it, nips in that outside corner. And the thing about it is, it might be a ball that's going around the plate, but he's been so consistent hitting that spot.
Great foul by Damon Minor. He sent them ducking and diving and getting out of the way in the Cardinal dugout. He scattered some folks.
That was a very athletic move over there by somebody in that dugout, getting out of the way. But
you'd better look out when Damon Minor's in the batter's box.
Yeah.
He's 6'7", and absolutely rakes the ball when he does make contact. And yesterday, unfortunately, lined one deep into the right field corner, and that struck someone who had to be taken away. The 1-1 pitch from Smith, and a high fly foul off into that corner again. Travis Smith striking out Rich Aurelia, looking in the third. I think he gets Kent in this inning, both disputing those third strikes, and all three of his strikeouts are caught looking. Minor 0 for 1. He's grounded to first and cracks another one foul, jumping all over it. And he knocked that one out of Pac-Bell. A foul splash down, perhaps. He's picking on that area of the park big time.
And see, that's the thing. If you're Travis Smith, you're not worried about how far these balls are going foul. He's getting the head out, and he's rushing to get the barrel head there. You know, you just want to try to hit your spot.
This one might be fair. He pulls it down into the corner, and it is gone. A home run. Damon Minor, after two blasts foul, finally straightens one out. His 10th of the year. You just felt that coming.
Well, you know, when he's pulling balls foul, you just know that if you continue to put it there, he's not going to be able to keep it fair. But, you know, this pitch he must have got out over the plate. Minor stayed back on it, and sure enough, it runs back over the heart of the plate. And Minor just strokes it right out of the ballpark. In a hurry. It got out of here very quickly.
Did not quite make the Pacific Ocean, but close. He'll take it. And so here's Pedro Feliz. He is 0 for 1, having grounded to third today. The Giants take the 2-1 lead. The battered and bruised San Francisco Giants out in front. They are the top home run hitting team in the National League, but they don't have Barry Bonds. They don't have Reggie Sanders. They don't have J.T. Snow or Benito Santiago available, at least in the starting capacity today. Fought off foul by Feliz. He was giving David Bell a day off today. Bell could use one. He's played in 97 of the Giants' first 101 games. As you look at the home run totals.
These guys, they still can hurt you with the long ball, even though they don't have their big boys in the lineup.
Well, here's a guy who can hit one. Feliz, 25 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. 2 years ago, AAA Fresno, he hit 33. His home run total led all Giants minor leaguers.
And these guys, they still, the guys coming off the bench still have some productivity left. I mean, they still can do some things.
Off the end of the bat, here comes Robinson in to make the catch. Had to adjust there at the last second, but he hauled it in for out number 2. And so Ramon Martinez will bat for the first time today. Had to come on when Tsuyoshi Shinjo left the game after a second inning double and came up lame. Shinjo eventually scored, but he looked pretty awkward doing it. It was obviously a leg injury of some kind. And we're still awaiting an update on his status. Base is empty, but a run in. The Giants up 2-1. Martinez takes ball 1. He's hitting .274. He's homered 3 times and driven in 15.
I always like this guy. He had a nice stroke. Very patient. Doesn't usually chase a whole lot of bad pitches. Normally he'll stand up there and just kind of stroke the baseball.
So you look at guys like Pedro Feliz with good power, Ramon Martinez, who's been a very valuable bench player and middle infielder for them, and Damon Minor, another guy too, and you look at guys who eventually could become regulars. So.
I mean, they could. I mean, you know, especially in Martinez and Feliz's case, both of those guys are young guys, relatively young guys.
3 balls, 1 strike on Martinez. Should he reach, Robert Torrealba will bat next. Smith comes in and he missed the corner for ball 4. And if he missed it earlier, this is what happened to the Giant center fielder Shinjo as he spanked a double into left field. And coming around first base, Robinson cut it off very quickly. So there might have been a play there at second. He sort of laid down there on the slide, and then when he scored the run, he did so very gingerly. And eventually, with the trainer, had to leave the dugout and head on into that clubhouse and for the training room. Dusty Baker has lost another outfielder.
Yeah, he didn't even. Sometimes when you pull a hammy like that, you'll go to the bench, you know, try to stretch you on the bench or stretch you on the floor of the dugout. He went straight to the training room. So if he did pull his hammy, he probably pulled it pretty good. And the muscles tightening up on him, and he's probably laying in there with the rest of them with an ice pack and the stem machine on it.
Yeah, a full room right now.
Exactly.
For San Francisco. So Martinez on at first base. Torrealba in the box. He has an RBI single today. Drove in a run yesterday in the Giants win. And San Francisco trying to split this series. So Torrealba in the process of a big day, at least the beginnings of one. He's the reserve catcher backing up Benito Santiago. The Giant reserves came up very big yesterday. Minor has homered today, playing at first base. He's a reserve player. Sean Dunston also had an RBI hit yesterday. So the Giant bench, and this has been typical of Dusty Baker's clubs over the years, that even when they do lose the stars on occasion, they're able to hang in there.
That's exactly right. And having a strong bench, you're expected to be a team to contend and go to the playoffs. You got to have a bench with some versatility that can do some things. And in their case, if guys get banged up, you got to have guys step out there and get the job done. And you know, these guys they're giving it their best. They're doing. Yesterday's game was a great example of that because it was a different guy. You know, really hit the home run, but you got contributions from other guys to get you to that W. And it's going to take that for at least another week until they can get some of these guys back and in the lineup.
Martinez leading in a 1-2 pitch. A little bit low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ryan Jensen, the pitcher, on deck. But if you're Travis Smith, you want to end the inning on this man, the 8-hitter, and have Jensen, the pitcher, leading off the next inning. So you'll have a quick, easy out. At least that's the philosophy. The runner goes. Swung on and missed. He struck him out. So 2 more strikeouts in the inning for Travis Smith. He gives up the home run to Damon Minor, though. A wicked rising line drive, and that puts the Giants in front 2-1. The Giants have taken a 2-1 lead. We go to the top half of the 5th in San Francisco, and tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN, we're going to be traveling to the beautiful Royal County Down Golf Course in Northern Ireland. Tony plays it all the time. Ian Stanley defends his title against Tom Watson and 2-time champ Christy O'Connor at the MasterCard Senior British Open. 3rd and final round coverage will air over the weekend on ABC Sports. You shot 600, didn't you?
Yeah, I wish.
Travis Smith leading off the 5th. It's the pitcher and then a 1 and 2 men for the St. Louis Cardinals. We're looking to win the series 3-1, but they're trailing by a run here. Smith with a wild swing, nothing in 2 on him. Ryan Jensen trying to pick up what would be his 5th consecutive win, and he got a home run ball from Damon Minor moments ago. Shot out to right field to take the lead, and Smith swings and misses, and he's retired. 3rd strikeout for Jensen. So 1 away in the 5th.
Well, Jensen's been impressive too. I mean, he's changing speeds and looks like he's in command. I mean, he's working ahead of the hitters and, you know, not really giving them something to really time in the zone. So, and that's what pitchers have to do. You have to keep the hitters timing off and force them to have to try to sit back and see the baseball.
Well, they've said it for years and years. If you're not throwing 97 miles an hour, you better be able to change speeds and finesse the hitter.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can locate with a little bit of movement, then you got a chance. You still got a chance to be a very successful pitcher.
He's been in the strike zone, no walks. Fernando Vina hitless today. He's grounded out twice. But he's having a very good road trip on this 7-game trek coming into today, hitting .429. They were in Pittsburgh before coming here. Ground ball knocked down by Minor. He recovers and gets there in time. He has those great big strides of a man 6'7". He can eat up a lot of ground, get back to the bag, and he did there for out number 2.
Now Jensen's not a small guy either, but Minor makes a nice play, gets his glove on it, takes it to the bag, and you see him standing next to Jensen. Jensen is not a small guy himself, and it shows you how big this Minor kid is. I mean, he's a big guy.
I was really looking forward to Vina getting on at first base there and just standing next to Minor just for a couple of pitches. I mean, just to see what they look like, and it would have brought to mind the old Vin Scully line. He looks like something that fell out of Minor's back pocket. Polanco 1 for 1 with a double. And he's also been hit by a pitch. Lost it to a very streaky hitter. He started the season with a 10-game hitting streak. He had a 13-game hitting streak in June, which is the longest of any Cardinal this season. Edmonds hoping for a chance to bat next. He's on deck, but the bases are empty with 2 out. And it's fought off foul, 1-2. I'll tell you this, Ryan Jensen in the strike zone quickly to 16 of the last 19 hitters. He's thrown first pitch strikes.
And that's what you like. That's what you like to see. And, I'm sure Dusty and Dave Righetti, the Giants pitching coach, are keeping an eye on him because that's what they want him to do. They want him to work ahead of the count, be able to change speeds in the zone and out of the zone and trying to get guys to hit his pitch. And so far, he's really been able to do that today.
Cracked foul. Sounds like he broke the bat. And Polanco will head on back to the dugout and fetch a new one here. Tony, you know this sound every once in a while. Sound of a broken bat.
Yeah. It's like, wow. And here's the thing. One of the rules they changed a couple of years ago is that you're supposed to have a couple of bats ready now. And early on in my career, I was pretty superstitious, so I didn't want to, you wanted to go over and pick it out yourself, but, because they wanted to speed up the game a little bit, you had to have them greased up and ready to go. And that's where I really lost that superstition. I didn't really worry about it. I just grabbed a bat and you said, let's go.
And it really didn't make any difference.
Didn't make any difference after all.
Fly to right, and Dunston in along the line, creeps over to make the catch, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Jensen has set down 9 in a row. He's in a pretty good groove here. It's 2-1 San Francisco. At the midway mark here in San Francisco, bottom of the 5th coming up. 2-1 the Giants and Ryan Jensen, the San Francisco pitcher, leading off the inning, and then it'll be Tom Goodwin and Sean Dunston. Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien with him on a sun-drenched afternoon here on San Francisco Bay. The Giants and the Cardinals wrapping up a 4-game series, and just about every time these two clubs have met, it's been hard-fought, closely contested, right down to the wire. And certainly the case yesterday, which ended 5-3 San Francisco, their first win in the series. They did it with a makeshift lineup. A big win for them. They did it without Bonds and a slew of others. And today they have lost Toyoshi Shinjo to a mild strain of his right hamstring. It's listed as day-to-day. That was on a play after he had doubled and scored. Kirk Reeder with a good effort yesterday in that win.
All around, really. I mean, they played really well yesterday, although they had to struggle to finally get the door closed.
Cut on and missed, and Jensen strikes out.
They got the W, and today, boy, they'd love to win today's game and come away in this series with a split after really having the Cardinals pretty much do a number on them the first 2 games. The Cardinals, Well, it's getaway day. They'd love to get a win today. Go home for, you know, one of their rivalry series with the Cubs. And take this series 3 out of 4 and send a message, hey, you know, if we do meet in the playoffs, we beat you, you know, the last 3 out of 4.
Goodwin 0 for 2. He struck out and grounded out. And look at the standings for both of these clubs. St. Louis still 3.5 games over Cincinnati, although with yesterday's loss, the 6-4 defeat, they did lose a game in the standings to the Reds. And you know all about the National League West by now. Tightly bunched, those top 3 teams. Arizona, San Francisco, and Los Angeles.
In the Central, you know, the Reds get a lot of credit, but can't count the Astros out either.
A pop-up for Renteria. Using that glove to shield his eyes. He makes the catch. So there are 2 fast outs in the 5th.
Every time the Astros get on a run and they win a few games and get close to 500, they just can't seem to get there. But that's a talented team too. And you know, the Cardinals struggle any, and the Reds struggle any. I mean, the Astros are a team that, you know, can do some things with the bat, with their offense, put some runs on the board. The question has been their pitching.
Wow, Tony, I mean, what possesses someone to come out to the ballpark wearing those hats?
I have no idea.
I shouldn't be asking you. You're right.
Normally I don't even notice. Normally I'm sitting down there watching a pitcher and where he is on the rubber.
Oh, you would have noticed those.
If they were sitting behind me, I'm sure that somebody would have said something.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sean Dunston on the day, a single and a ground out. He's 1 for 2. Yeah, the Houston Astros just 7 games out right now and still 2 games under 500, but you can't write them off just yet. However, what if Shane Reynolds was still healthy? Big swing and a miss by Dunston. If they had one more sort of stud pitcher in their rotation.
Yeah, and you know, getting Miller back, you know, really helps them, but they got a lot of games left, and the Cardinals have dominated the Astros. As you can see, 9 games, 9 wins, 3 losses, but they got 7 left. Reds got 6 left. So it should be interesting, even though these teams are, you know, even though the Cardinals are in first place, they're still going to have to beat people to win that division.
Well, as we showed you, Tony La Russa's club with just 6 left with Cincinnati, and that's right at the end of August and early September, and then they'll be done with the Reds. So for the bulk of the final month, they won't have to worry about facing Cincinnati head-to-head.
Yeah, but you're probably still going to have to beat a Pittsburgh. You're going to have to beat a Milwaukee.
1-2 to Dunston. He reaches out and slaps it to right field. Right between first and second, a base hit for Dunston. He's 2 for 3.
That was nice hitting there. Didn't try to do too much with this ball. It's just a ball out over the plate. And wide pull it. I'm going to hit it the other way. And he's already stolen a base once today. And we've already documented he still can run and still can be aggressive. And so we'll see if he tries to get himself in scoring position again.
It was his first stolen base, the one he lifted in the first inning, in just about a year. Almost exactly a year. Rich Aurelia has popped up and struck out on the day. Grounds it up the middle, and that's going to squeak on through for a base hit. Dunston charging for third, and Edmonds will lob it into second base behind him. Back-to-back 2-out singles for the Giants.
That's aggressive base running once again by Sean Dunston, and it's a veteran play by Edmonds. He didn't try to throw Dunston out here at third base. He just said, I'm going to keep the force play in order and go back to second. Great base running by Dunston, and if you're Dusty Baker, that's the kind of aggressive ball you're going to have to play. You don't know how many opportunities you're going to get. So if you can pick up an extra 90 feet, you're going to try to do it. Dunston's the guy to get it done for them right there.
So Travis Smith, after getting Jensen to strike out and Goodwin to pop up, has given up back-to-back singles, and in steps Jeff Kent. He has grounded out and been caught looking on a third strike that he disputed in the 4th inning. Spreading his hands apart after the whiff and showing home plate ump Jeff Kellogg that strike zone was a little too wide in his estimation. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Travis Smith starts him off with a straight change. Not a bad line.
Yeah, not bad. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts.
He starts out Jeff Kent with a changeup just to put the thought in his mind that, hey, he's not going to be afraid to throw his off-speed pitch anytime.
First and third here, and it's outside.
Dusty Baker over there thinking how nice it would be to get another run right here.
And lays off. 2 balls and 1 strike on him. Damon Minor would be next. He's already cracked a home run today. Starting the day, getting 339. Which is 3rd in the National League batting race. Now being led by Larry Walker. He's really got hot. He's hitting 361. 2-2 and a home run cut there by Kent, but he came up empty.
Once again, nice changeup by Travis Smith. Out in front. And as a hitter, when you swing and miss at that pitch twice, you know you have to try to react to anything other than the fastball. You've got to look for the fastball, but there's no question he's put the thought of changeup in his mind.
Will he come back with it?
2 strikes now. If most hitters are more defensive with 2 strikes, so anything you throw him off speed, it better be a good pitch, because otherwise, you know, if you're in a defensive mode, it's going to be a little bit easier to put the bat on the ball in those situations.
He swung on and missed. He got him with a fastball down and in. Another nasty pitch by Travis Smith, who struck out 2 in the 4th inning, strikes out 2 more here in the 5th. Give in half a dozen for the day. And the Giants, despite their 2 hits in the inning, they strand 2. Heading for the 6th inning, 2-1 San Francisco leading the Cardinals by 1. Tony, we're talking about the wild card race in the National League. If the season ended today, the Giants would secure it, but it has tightened up the last couple of weeks.
It really has, and given the Mets and the Reds and the Expos new life, because the Dodgers and Giants have been struggling, and you know, now they feel like they're right in the race too. So, you know, all of these games coming down the stretch are going to be important games, and you know, everybody wants to get to the playoffs, and hopefully we will have some. And if we do, I think there's going to be 4 teams that are going to have a chance to get to that point where games in September are going to mean a whole lot more to them than it will to other teams.
Edmonds 0 for 2. He has struck out and lined to short. Jim with 3 hits in the series, and 2 of them have been home runs. I don't think I've ever asked you about this. I mean, for a long time you played in your career with the Padres without the wild card part of the playoff picture, and in recent years, obviously, it's become a point of controversy. Some fans love it, and a lot of traditionalists don't like it. How do you feel about it?
I like it. I think it brings interest to those cities that are fighting for the wild card. Obviously, it's not as important as winning your division, I don't think. I think when we played, we wanted to win the division. We didn't want to go in as a wild card team. But if you're not going to win your division, we'd love the opportunity to go in as a wild card, because you know what, you can still win a World Series, get into the playoffs. So I think it adds a whole lot to these races in September, especially like in the Twins case where they're winning by a big number. The Braves are winning by a big number. You know, a team in their division like the Mets or the Expos still have a chance to get to the postseason, and I think it's good.
Edmonds taking ball 4 a moment ago. That'll bring up Albert Pujols. He's reached on an error and grounded out. J.D. Drew to hit next. The runner goes, and it's fouled away, so St. Louis with a play on. Edmonds running with the pitch. So Tony La Russa trying to get something going here in the 6th inning.
Not very often are you playing hit and run with your number 4 hitter. I mean, Edmonds got an okay jump, but I think he was more dependent on Pujols putting the ball in play than just trying to steal a base. And it tells you just how good a hitter this young guy is, because you just don't see that very often.
And how good a contact hitter Pujols is. He has whiffed only 42 times in over 350 at bats. You're talking about a slugging cleanup man who's capable of hitting 40-45 home runs.
Absolutely, and you know, the that he fouled off that hit-and-run pitch was the exact kind of hack he took the at-bat before when he thought the hit-and-run was on.
Well, until the walk to Edmonds, Jensen had retired 9 consecutive hitters. So Tony La Russa's trying to get something started to break him up a little bit. And now he's working for the stretch for the first time in a while.
Yeah. So sometimes it takes a little bit, takes a few pitches for you to find the strike zone again. And the Cardinals have the right part of the order coming up with 3, 4, 5 in Edmonds, Pujols, and Drew. And so he wanted to put himself in a situation where maybe he can make something happen here and give himself a chance to get even or maybe take the lead here.
The righty again to keep Edmonds busy over there. Gonna slow him down, cut down on that lead a little bit. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out. The Giants today 6 hits. St. Louis has been held at 3 by Jensen, and 2 of those came in the first inning. So he has been awfully tough to hit. Now Pujols will step out.
Both of these guys, Smith for the Cardinals, Jensen for the Giants, I mean, they've both done a nice job thus far. But you know, you're in a critical part in the game now where you need to get outs.
Swing and a miss on a good off-speed pitch. And Pujols waved right through it. 1-2.
And both of these guys are not afraid to throw their off-speed stuff. And that's a breaking ball that really is one of those that you'd like to hit. He took so much off of it, he just swung right over the top of it.
The 1-2, Edmonds holding, and it's outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jensen coming off a no decision against Los Angeles. It was on July 20th. He allowed 6 hits over 6 innings. Did not give up an earned run. Keeping his win streak alive. It's now reached 4 straight. He's 10-6 overall. Edmonds stays put again, and that's inside. And Pujols was definitely fooled on the pitch.
He was.
He did not trigger, but it's 3-2.
Yeah, when he leaned back, he just hoped that when he came back forward, he wasn't going to hear the umpire say anything. And Jensen definitely fooled him there. So now you're 3-2. You know, do you start your runner here and try to stay out of the double play, or do you trust the fact that Pujols can put the bat on the ball?
Edmonds does go, and it's a swinging bunt. This is going to be trouble. Jensen will just put in his back pocket. An infield hit for Albert Pujols. So it'll be 1st and 2nd, nobody out.
He started Edmonds trying to stay out of the double play, and Jensen's made a good pitch. Pujols hits it right off the end, and as he's going to get it, he knows he has no play. And which happens sometimes in baseball, where you do exactly what you set out to do. You execute, you make the pitch you want to make, you get the hitter out in front, and he puts it in a place that you can't do anything with it. And that's, you know, you can't really argue too much there. He made a good pitch, got him to do exactly what he wanted to do. Unfortunately, you can't get an out on the play.
So Dave Brigetti out to the hill to talk it over with Jensen, right in front of J.D. Drew, who has lined a single to drive in a run today. 1 for 2. Drew also a very difficult man to double up. In 286 at bats this year, he's hit into just 2 of them.
It'll be interesting to see how they play this here, because you have the meat part of your lineup coming up. You know, Renteria's been very hot too, so you know, do you sacrifice, move your runners up, give yourself a chance to at least tie the game with an out, or you could play for the big inning and, you know, let Drew swing the bat, because he's entirely capable of taking a ball and hitting it out of ballpark too.
Not indicating bunt. Fouls it away and hit hard again, and on a number of swings he has been right on Ryan Jensen, and that might be playing into it too.
Yeah, and he was the one who drove in the Cardinal run. You know, on a pitch away, he just kind of stayed back on it nice and served it in the right center field. So minds on both sides. Dusty Baker and Tony La Russa are ticking here.
Edmonds at second, Pujols at first, and that's flying to dead away center field. Hit deep. Goodwin backing up at the track of the wall, and it's gone. So La Russa lets him swing away, and it pays off with 3 runs. A 3-run shot for J.D. Drew. Edmonds scores, Pujols in, and Drew touches home. And this one turns around quickly for the Cardinals, who take the lead 4-2.
No, I just like this guy as a player. I tell you, this is a fastball that starts out in and runs back in the middle of the plate. And he strokes this ball to straightaway center. And they go from deficit to advantage real quick.
J.D. Drew with all 4 RBIs on the day for St. Louis. The run-scoring single in the first, and now the 3-run tater here in the 6th.
There's Earl Weaver's favorite friend, the 3-run homer, and Tony Russo is loving that right now. It's amazing sometimes how an inning like that can start out. You know, I mean, Jensen gets his first walk. You know, he makes a great pitch to Pujols. He hits it off the end of the bat, gets a base hit. Then he makes a mistake to Drew, and he hits a 3-run homer. And you go from having the lead to being behind, just like in the swing of a bat.
And it's also fascinating, too. I mean, you're speculating about, well, Drew could drop down a bunt here.
Right.
Edgar Renteria, coming up next, leads the National League hitting with runners in scoring position. So pretty good idea that he's going to put the ball in play.
Right.
But let him swing away. Drew does, and he cracks it to dead center field for a 3-run homer.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Drew. He's got the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So, you know, with guys like that, you know he can get the bunt down and move the runners up. But it's still relatively early in the game. It's the 6th inning. You know you're going to get another opportunity to go around one more time. And a lot of managers like to let their guy go ahead, swing the bat. It's the 6th inning. This is right at the point of the game where, you know, we don't start to do something here, you know, after this inning. The manager's going to take control of it, and he's going to have that guy bunting in the next situation.
Renteria hits off the end of the bat, sinking fast. It'll be a base hit for Edgar Renteria. His first of the day, that pulls him to within 2 of 1,000 hits in his career. And so the first 4 Cardinals have reached base here in the 6th inning. Jensen came flying into this inning, having set down 9 in a row. He looked fully in control. He's been their best pitcher over the last month. But now they're touching him up.
That's why this is a great game. You just never can figure, you know, what's going to happen. You can speculate on the possibilities, but you described it perfectly. Jensen was in total control. And even this inning, the only ball hit hard was the home run.
And now, of course, you're seeing the Cardinals for the 3rd time. More importantly, they're seeing him for the 3rd time. 3rd time through. And Watasic getting ready to start warming up. Jay Watasic goes down the left field line. Gary Robinson 1 for 2 with a single, and he's popped up. Thought there was a play on there, the Giants did, but Renteria holds at first base. Nobody out.
So you get guys charging like the Giants do right here. They had Minor coming off the bag and Felice charging hard. You know, Kerry Robinson's a guy who's got some speed himself. And this might be a situation where you show sacrifice and then you pull it back and you play hit and run. Of course, Jensen's thinking like I'm thinking out loud here, and he throws to first.
On deck, Eli Marrero, 4-2 St. Louis, as Drew takes Jensen out of the yard. There's Jensen now, the 3 times through the lineup, and as you can see, this 3rd time has resulted so far in a 3 for 5 with a homer. Robinson with a little more power than you might expect. Takes one on the inside corner for a strike. He's a very good athlete. We talked about him being born in St. Louis. At Hazelwood High School in Missouri, he played 3 sports. He played baseball, football, and hockey. Scored 29 goals his senior hockey season.
It's impressive.
Excellent speed, good power.
And we know he's got some bat control then, and he squared the first hit, but he hadn't squared since. So probably a good bet that they might play the action play here. They might play some hit and run sooner or later. I'm not convinced here now that he's going to bunt. He squared the first pitch, hasn't since. So it's a pretty good bet they're going to try to play hit and run or run and hit.
The 2-1. The runner goes. He does swing and miss. The throw, the tag, and he's safe. Renteria gets in there. A stolen base. Robinson trying to go up that ladder just to put it in play, at least foul it off with the hit and run play in effect. Didn't quite get it, but Renteria stole it anyway.
You know, that was a tough pitch to try to put your bat on it, too. And
Oh, yeah.
He tried to. Couldn't foul it off, couldn't put it in play. This ball is up. He gets on his toes trying to hack at that. Renteria beat the play anyway.
His 14th stolen base.
And you just kind of sense that just because he squared on the first pitch and he didn't after that.
So Robinson can pick up an RBI here. Nobody out. He flicks it down the left field line. Martinez on the move. He'll make the catch in fair ground. And remember, he had never played in the outfield in the majors until today, till the early portion of the game when Shinjo went down with the injury. He's looked very comfortable out there. But let's go back to that stolen base. You think there was a tag here on Renteria? I don't know if he missed him entirely or really he may have.
I don't think he got him. Renteria, after he went past the bag, he went back to reach for it.
So his theft has him at second with one down now, and Marrero the batter. Eli has struck out and grounded out. 10 home runs for him. A breaking ball knocked down by Torrealba. That is ball one. We'll take one more look at this play. On the jersey, does he get it?
It looks like it.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's his foot on the bag.
Well, it's a tough call. Any way you cut it for Jerry Meals.
He's looking right there too, so he called him safe. So I'm not going to argue with him.
He's 27 inches away.
Exactly.
Renteria running, trying to steal third. The throw, the tag. He's out. Torrealba guns him down, and no debate on this one whatsoever.
Now, see, to me on that play, he looked more safe there than he did going to second base.
I agree with you.
Yeah, but you know, you're already in scoring position. He picks the right pitch. It's a breaking ball. Perfect throw. But once again, the umpire's standing right there. I get the luxury of replays. And it looked like he made the right call. It looked like he got the tag on him before he got in the bag.
So now the bases are vacant for Eli Marrero. And I sense you don't like that idea, trying to steal third. He's already in scoring position.
Well, just because you're already in scoring position. And a lot of the managers that I played for, they said, if you're going to go in that situation, you better make it. Because, you know, you've been struggling trying to put runs on the board.
Swing and a miss for strike three, and that ends the inning. But J.D. Drew has lifted the Cardinals into the lead by knocking one out to center. A 3-run homer off Ryan Jensen, and the Cardinals lead at 4-2. Bottom of the sixth coming up. It is 4-2 St. Louis. Travis Smith back to the mound.
Let's see how he handles having the lead here, because today, you know, he's been able to locate the fastball. That's a fastball nipping off the outside corner there. Nipping it off on Kent. Torrealba's just a good sinker in. Breaking ball to the pitcher. And a sink piece, a good sink piece to Jeff Kent. And now that, and of course, he was pitching most of the time here. He's been behind, but now he's got the lead. And let's see if he does anything different, because he's done a good job. He's only walked one. Pitch count might be getting up a little bit with 81. But he made a mistake here to Damon Minor. I'm sorry, Damon Minor, and he hit the ball out of the ballpark, and he got to locate like he's been.
Popped up by Minor on the first pitch. Polanco into that sun will make the catch. It almost spit out. You saw that snow cone, a little grin there from Polanco. He hung on to it, but he almost lost it. So Minor retired on one pitch.
See, as an outfielder, we used to think it was so tough, you know, playing the sun and playing those high pop-ups. But, you know, for the infielders, It's really difficult too because they use a lot smaller glove than the outfielders do. We kind of got a highlight paddle out there in the outfield. In the infield, these guys use these smaller gloves, and for them to really, you have to really get under a ball to catch it, make sure you catch it in a spot where it's going to stay in.
And it barely stayed in. Pedro Feliz is grounded out and flied out. He is 0 for 2. Feliz with a couple of home runs. He's a little bit more powerful than he may look. We talked about his 33 home run season a couple of years ago in the minors in Fresno at AAA. He's 6'1", about 210 pounds, and has some very good pop for the Giants. Fouled out of play for a strike. Juan Martinez coming up next. So much different outing for Travis Smith than the last time he towed the slab, and that was against the Pittsburgh Pirates on Saturday. They pelted him. 7 earned runs, 8 hits. 15-6 was the final score.
But today he's just been able to change speeds nicely. Marrero keeps trying to go for the kill out there on that outside corner. But really he's worked both halves of the plate.
He's had a good sinker, the 2-2 pitch. High fly left field. Robinson backs up now in. That's the second out. Fans, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Any accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. You can show your support for your favorite team with MLB Authentic Collection. Log on to MLB.com to order your player quality merchandise right now. Just want to go on record. Tony refused to read the disclaimer. Gave him every opportunity. Little flare in the left center. Edmonds will move on over to make the catch. So we're denied the opportunity to hear Tony's mellifluous tones.
I'll deal with this one when I get back.
I understand. 4-2 St. Louis. In San Francisco, making our way to the top half of the 7th inning. The Cardinals hold on to a 4-2 lead over the Giants. The hits are even at 6. And a nice big crowd enjoying the beautiful sunshiny weather in San Francisco. Travis Smith has enjoyed it more than anyone. The St. Louis starter 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt today, but he has the 2-run lead. He threw only 7 pitches in his last inning on the go. 88 for the game. And so if he can complete 7 innings, that will tie his career-long outing. It's been a strong effort so far for Smith.
And it'll be exactly what the Cardinals needed after yesterday's 7 good innings, you know, putting them in a position where they can go to 2 guys and possibly get them through the game.
Yeah, short outing for Andy Bennis yesterday. Jensen right at 100 pitches. He's thrown a lot of strikes. And one to J.D. Drew would like to have back, but he gets Smith working here for strike 3. 1 away in the 7th.
One of the problems that you run into when you get the kind of fastball that both of these guys have with movement is, you know, when you're consistently trying to hit that outside corner and then trying to run it back, a lot of times the thing just runs right over the heart of the plate. And the pitch he made to Drew was really the only mistake he really made in that inning, and it cost him.
Here's Vina. Fernando is over 3, running up as if to bunt. He takes ball 1. Twice he has pulled the ground ball right at the feet of Minor, the first baseman. He's also tapped out to short. And a terrific little leadoff man, and perhaps the finest defensive second baseman in the National League. Turning the double play, you're not going to get any argument from the other second baseman. He may do that better than anyone in the game with his position. Steve Klein, the left-hander, starts to loosen up for the Cardinals.
And he's really worked hard at his game. I mean, in Milwaukee, he was a good player, too. Just never seemed to get a lot of credit. But coming here to St. Louis and playing on a good ball club, I think it's really helped him.
Trying to bunt his way on. Minor will try and get back, and he does in time. So Vina is 0 for 4. Sports Center coming up next, right after the ball game. Trey Wingo, Matt Weiner, and Cindy Brunson coming your way. And among the topics, where have you gone, Mark McGwire? Haven't seen much of Big Mac since his retirement. Strawberry speaks out from jail. And Ozzie Smith goes home to Watts. So you'll see all sorts of SportsCenter highlights coming up next. Maybe not that. Two down, and the batter, Placido Polanco, he's doubled, been hit by a pitch, and flied out to right, so he's 1 for 2.
Well, that was kind of a mixed bag of items on the SportsCenter thing. Where's Mark McGwire gone? I mean,
have you gone, Mark McGwire?
He played this game for a long time. I don't blame him. You know, Major League Baseball leaned on him hard.
Oh, yeah.
And he just wants to kind of just retire and have fun. I don't blame him.
He recently got married.
Absolutely.
Kent with the play at first base, sets down Polanco. A zippy inning for Ryan Jensen. 4-2 St. Louis. Now the fans have stretched here in San Francisco. The Cardinals with a 4-2 lead. Yorba Torrealba will lead off against Travis Smith. Each side with 6 hits. Each team has made 1 error. But the big blow in the game, J.D. Drew with a 3-run homer in the 6th inning. And look who just came to the on-deck circle as you look at Brohan, the left-hander, warming up for San Francisco. And look who has just come to the on-deck circle for the Giants. Remember, they're short players with all the injuries. That's Livan Hernandez, who started on Monday night.
That's not a good sign for the Giants right there. In the 7th inning, to have to, because of injuries, send the pitcher up to pinch hit. And, you know, I'm not, because Livan's is a pretty good hitter for a pitcher. But so to have to use him in the 7th inning of the game and really have him be your first pinch hitter of the day, I mean, they're going to have to make some moves. And so,
yeah, it would appear so. He's hitting .275 for the year, no homers, 6 RBIs. But as Tony emphatically stated, for a pitcher,
absolutely,
that's darn good.
This is tough. I mean, because you know, you get into the game. He's a pretty good athlete, but you get into the game when you're already pitching.
Ground ball up the middle. They'll squeak through. The second hit of the day for Torrealba. But here comes Livan Hernandez to hit.
Let's see how good a hitter he really is, because now, you know, you're 2 runs down. Do you play for the sacrifice here? Do you just move the runner in the scoring position, or do you let him swing the bat? He's going to go down. He's going to go check. He handles the bat really good. But this is a whole different situation when they're calling on you to pinch hit. I found this out late in my career. This is not an easy gig, pinch hitting, coming off the bench.
Well, he has 11 hits for the season. That is more than any other Giant pitcher. And batting for his fellow starter, Ryan Jensen, right here. A lot of trade speculation about Livan Hernandez and how much longer he's going to be in a Giant uniform. He has said if he's going to be dealt someplace, like, for example, the New York Mets or back to the Florida Marlins or something like that, he definitely wants to remain in the National League so he can swing the bat. He loves to hit.
Well, you know, and like I said, he's a pretty good athlete, and he handles the bat well. And I don't want people to take this the wrong way. I said as a pitcher, because when he swings the bat, it's because he's starting the game. And I would bet this might be his first pinch hit up here. Well, I was wrong. We just handed a stat. 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter.
0 for 1 on the year. Yep.
But when you're pinch hitting, it becomes a whole different ball game when you got to do it. That's your one crack in the game where you're going to get a chance to maybe do something. So.
Well, obviously Tony La Russa does not want to mess with Livan Hernandez, at least not with Travis Smith. So he's going to go to the bullpen right here.
Well, Livan's getting a kick out of this too, because seeing a new pitcher coming in.
They're managing around Livan. Timlin coming in, and we'll be back in a moment.
ESPN Major League Baseball, brought to you by Samsung. The amazing world of Samsung Digital. Everyone's invited.
From San Francisco, where the Cardinals hold a 4-2 lead, and Livan Hernandez about to bat here because Dusty Baker is so short on bench players available today. And so the starting pitcher up there squaring to bunt. Not starting today, but coming off the bench as a pinch hitter. Batting for Ryan Jensen, and up against Mike Timlin. Nice looking .264 earned run average, but the home run ball has been a problem for Timlin. 10 of the 18 runs he's allowed have been on home runs.
And if Polanco keeps charging hard on the bunt play, he's going to pull it back and put it in. Hernandez is going to put it in play. Right now he's playing for the sacrifice, but
Torrealba at first base. Nobody out, and now Levon will ask for time. Barry Bonds with a hamstring. Reggie Sanders with a hamstring. Benito Santiago with eye trouble. JT Snow with flu-like symptoms. And all of them unavailable today. Ramon Martinez has been forced to come into the ballgame off of Dusty Baker's bench to play for Shinjo. He strained his hamstring early in this contest. If they didn't have enough problems. That's low for a ball. It's 2-0. And Tony, you would have thought the one thing Timlin wouldn't do is come in and walk somebody. His command has been very, very good. He's walked just 7 men in 58 innings, but he's gone to 2-0 on Levon Hernandez.
well, I have to be honest. I'm sitting here feeling bad because I said Levon was a pitcher, and Timlin has come in and pitched to him, as a threat, and Hernandez is just squaring around trying to bunt, and he can't throw a strike right now.
3-0. How about this? Taking all the way, and that's in for a strike. And the crowd is really into it. They're delighting in this at bat.
They are.
Every pitch, oohs and ahs and cheers for Levon. Takes that strike, 3-1.
Yeah, I think Levon knew that was a strike. He was just trying to sell it too.
Well, it's the hitter's count for the pitcher. You think a good one to bunt on, and he gets it down. Pujols into field. He'll flip it over to Vigna for the out. Into second base, Torrealba. Levon Hernandez, who they brought in a new pitcher to face. He drops down a nice sacrifice bunt, so good work by him.
Perfect.
Giants have another man in scoring territory.
That is perfect execution right there. He just lays his ball down to first base, forces the first baseman to field it, gets the job done. He's probably telling Dusty, if you'd have let me swing the bat in that situation,
Come on.
you might have first and third here.
He does love to hit.
He does.
So here's Tom Goodwin. He has gone 0 for 3 today. He has struck out, grounded out, and popped up. And he pulls that one foul. We were talking earlier about Robinson, Kerry Robinson, the Cardinals, growing up in St. Louis and everything. And Goodwin is also from the part of the country in Northern California, where he gets a chance to play for the hometown team, as Robinson does for the Cardinals. Went to high school here in Fresno, in the Northern California area. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tom was also a 3-sport athlete. He thought he was going to be a wide receiver in the NFL when he was in high school, but instead he signed a baseball scholarship at Fresno State. And it's second one out, and he chops it. Pujols with it. Will feed the pitcher. Down to third, Torrealba. And so they're 2 out. That'll send up Sean Dunston. The opportunity to get the Giants just 1 run down. It's 4-2 St. Louis. And Dunston's had a good day. 2 hits in 3 trips.
Yeah, you got the right guy up there in this situation for them. Dunston swung the bat very well and gotten a couple of hits. And I don't think you can forget to mention the job that Travis Smith did for the Cardinals today. He gave them 6 strong innings and put them in a position where they could use the bullpen the way they want to use the bullpen. And Timlin, even though he struggled early, he's settled down and gotten out.
In for strike 1 on Dunston. Sean, of course, his first 11 seasons as a big leaguer, all with the Chicago Cubs. And now in his 18th season trying to get to the World Series for the first time in his career at the age of 39. See Chuck Finley there, still tutoring Travis Smith after Smith came out after 6 good innings. Hit hard and through for a base hit. Dunston with the RBI that chases in Jorge Torrealba. And it's a 1-run game. That's the way these two clubs play. And they've done it over the last 8 or 9 days. The first 3-hit game in a season for Sean Dunston since September of 2000.
That's just good hitting. He got a ball out over the plate. You know, the execution, the sacrifice by Livan Hernandez set up the whole inning. And somebody gets a 2-out hit, drives it in. Of course, Dusty loving that. Gets his team closer. It's a 1-run ball game.
Johnny La Russa not loving it as much. Still has a 1-run lead here. But the tying run is on, and that's it high. Tracked down by Renteria. He'll flip for the force. And the inning is done. But on a couple of hits and a big sacrifice bunt by Livan Hernandez. This is now a 1-run game. Edmonds and Pujols due up for St. Louis. Well, it's a close one again between St. Louis and San Francisco. They play them like this. 4-3 the Cardinals. The Giants have just pulled within 1. And here's Troy Brohan's numbers from Fresno's AAA. A 343 earned run average. They just brought him up a week ago, just prior to a game in St. Louis. And so the left-hander will be on to face Jim Edmonds. And we'll see after that. Edmonds is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. He flies a foul out of play for strike 1.
Big roundhouse breaking ball there. You see Jimmy Edmonds kind of gave ground on it. Tried to just throw the barrel at it. Fouled it off.
Right-hander Felix Rodriguez starts to loosen up in the pen, and Pujols, the right-hand bat, is up next. So this may be just one hitter for Brohan. The 0-1 is up and in, and Rodriguez just today admitting that he has been pitching throughout the season with a very sore right index finger, which has to be considered a major cause for his plummeting numbers, and what has been certainly an off year for a terrific young pitcher.
Yeah, he was one of the best in the business at what he did, which was a setup for Rob Mann. And he just hadn't been as sharp this year as he was last year, and you find out today that his index finger has been bothering him on his throwing hand.
And it's something he hid from the training staff and from Dusty Baker. You know, to his credit, Dusty Baker did not let him have it publicly. Did not rip him apart. It looks like Dusty's just going to kind of let this one go.
Yeah.
You know, young pitcher's mistake.
You got to be honest, and you know, there are days where you just feel like you can still get it done.
Still throwing hard.
Yeah. Still throwing hard, but not locating like he did last year. And you know, I've said 100,000 times probably in my career, you know, if you can't locate, you can throw as hard as you want, but if you can't put it where you need to put it, you know, big league hitters are going to get their bat on it. And this year he's just not locating like he did the year before.
The lefty's 2-2, popped up a mile in the air over the center of the diamond, now blows toward right. Backing up Kent, fighting the wind. Here comes Dunston. He won't get it. And into second base, Jim Edmonds safely. The wind wreaking havoc with that high pop-up. And so Edmonds reaches second base on a ball that should have been caught. Even Dunston's last-second dive couldn't get it.
That was just one of those weird. I mean, Dunston just changes direction completely. And see, once again, it's like we talked about in yesterday's game. The center fielder has got to take charge out there. He's got to let people know what's going on. And now this has turned in from just a routine. I won't say routine because of the park we're playing in, but you know, an easy out, a pitch that they should get an out on. It's a possible big inning started for the Cardinals.
Rodriguez coming on. That winds up a double for Edmonds, and we'll be right back. Back here in the top half of the 8th inning, Felix Rodriguez comes out of the bullpen for the San Francisco Giants moments after A wind-aided double by Jim Edmonds dropped in front of a diving Sean Dunston. A .602 earned run average, which just doesn't make any sense until you find out the news we discovered today, that Rodriguez has been hiding an injured index finger on his pitching hand for the last couple of months. And consequently didn't get any treatment on it while that ERA kept on climbing and climbing. Pujols 1 for 3 today. Last year, Felix Rodriguez, the 29-year-old out of the Dominican Republic, pretty near unhittable. He was 9-1 with a 1.68 ERA, 91 strikeouts in 80 innings. Well, the strikeouts are way down. The hits are way up. And now he tries to get out of a jam not of his making. The fastball, which has always been very lively for him. That one at 97, missing outside, and it's 1-1.
You see, the velocity is still there. The thing that he did outstanding last year was locate. You know, he mixed his fastball and his slider, and he was able to put the ball where he wanted to put it. And this year, the location part of his equation just really hadn't been there. And, you know, 6 ERA, he went from a 1, barely over 1 to...
Fouled off by Edmonds. Let's go back and look at that very tricky play, the wind-aided double by Edmonds, Tony.
Now watch Sean Dunston on this play. This ball goes up, and he's running from the very beginning, but look where it ends up. It ends up closer to Tom Goodwin, and he's nowhere near to play until the ball hits the ground. And Dunston had a lot of ground to cover, and he gave an honest effort, but you know, your center fielder is the guy in charge. He's the one who's got to take charge out there and call the shots. In a park like this, sometimes where the wind changes, you know, you got to take charge.
Swing and a miss, and Pujols is blown away on that fastball by Rodriguez, and that's more like Felix Rodriguez. Getting a terrific hitter as well. 1 away.
Good fastball. Put it where he wanted to put it, on the outside part of the plate, and got the strikeout.
So that'll bring up J.D. Drew, who has driven in all 4 Cardinal runs today with an RBI single and a 3-run homer. His career high is 5. Did that 2 years ago in a game against the Cubs. Edmonds at second, 1 out. 4-3 St. Louis in the 8th. And he takes ball 1. And after the Edmonds double, Goodwin and Dunston huddled together in the outfield at length and talked it over. Sean Dunston's first question was, hey, Tom, why weren't you in my zip code when that fell in? It would have been nice to have you nearby, but remember, Shinjo is out.
And remember, Goodwin probably hadn't played that much center field with the Giants. He probably played the corners.
Shinjo had to leave the game in the first couple of innings because of that mild hamstring strain.
So sometimes those are things that the home team knows about and the visiting team usually doesn't. But you know, in this case, that ball started out in straightaway right field and ended up really almost in straightaway center field. Yeah. Dunston is going all out trying to make the play. And just couldn't make the play, and now the Cardinals find themselves with a guy in scoring position and a chance to kind of tack on another run, an insurance run, after the Giants rallied for one themselves.
So 1-1 up and away. So 2 balls and a strike on Drew. A tough part of the order here for any pitcher to have to face. Edmonds started the frame. Pujols just struck out. Now J.D. Drew, after him Edgar Renteria.
Even though Renteria's swinging a bat good, I don't think J.D. Drew is going to get much to hit here. But once again, as soon as I open my mouth, you find out he's 0 for 5.
0 for 5 against Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. So
2-2.
I think the biggest thing you can do if you're a left-handed hitter and you're facing Rodriguez is, you know, when you get the fastball, don't always look to try to pull it. Because, you know, when you're looking to pull that ball, then he's going to stay away from you. You know, you have to be cognizant that he might come in with it, but when you don't try to pull the ball, you have a little bit more success.
Off the corner, and the count fills up. So 3-2. 1 down, Edmonds leading at second. Renteria next. The top hitter in the National League, hitting with men in scoring position. Lewis looking for a big insurance run here. The lanky righty's pitch. He struck him out, and J.D. Drew is 0 for 6 against Rodriguez, who has come on to fan Pujols and J.D. Drew back-to-back.
It was a nice pitch. I mean, J.D. Drew swung at that like it might have been something off speed. Well, that looks like a fastball. Going by him on the inside part of the plate. And he's come in and done a nice job so far. He's 1 out away from getting out of this inning.
Renteria 1 for 3 with a stolen base as well back in the 6th inning. He was also caught trying to steal 3rd in that same frame. The Swifty right down the heart. Now he has handled Rodriguez fairly well. Granted, a limited number of at-bats, just 11, but he does have 4 hits.
That's enough. That's enough at-bats against a guy like Rodriguez, because you know you're usually only going to see him late in the game. And
Renteria is not one of those hitters you have to convince to take the pitch to right field.
No, exactly. That's exactly right. It was a good point, because
up 5 for a ball, 1-1.
He doesn't, maybe more against left-handers than righties. I don't think he likes to really pitch inside on right-handers very often. So
here the Giants coming up at the bottom of the 8th inning. Kent Minor release. Minor has homered. The other two obviously with home run power. But no Barry Bonds. And for that matter, no Reggie Sanders. The 1-1. And again, he went with a heat. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And what I was saying, what I meant was that with right-hand hitters, the strongest part of the plate for Rodriguez is the outside part. And so when a left-hand hitter is facing him, yeah, he's more apt to pitch you inside, to pitch a left-handed hitter inside than a right-handed hitter, because the strong side of the plate is the ball that's away from a right-handed hitter. And Renteria is a guy that isn't afraid to just go with the pitch instead of just sitting there trying to pull all the time.
Well, if he goes with it to right field cleanly through, that'll score Edmonds and give the Cardinals a 2-run lead. Back out of play and off into the seats. 2-2. This is the 6th and final meeting of the year between these two clubs during the regular season. But the way they have played against each other in these 6 games, you really hope that they're going to square off again come October. They've been terrific games. And this one a long way from over. 2-2. Renteria wagging that bat. And the count is full. The crowd wanted strike 3 desperately.
The crowd started to get into the game now. Rodriguez tries to paint the outside corner here, but this ball is off the plate. Renteria has a good eye.
And Rodriguez has a blazing fastball. Renteria has to be geared up for it here.
I would think he's got to be looking for the heater here.
On deck, Gary Robinson, if the inning is still kicking.
You got a base open here, so if you're walking, you're walking. Don't worry about it. Concentrate on the next guy.
2 down in the 3-2. Got him looking. Gave him a fastball and he struck him out, and Rodriguez strikes out the side. Dusty Baker may have his talented setup man back after all. Edmonds with the wind-aided double started the inning. The next 3 struck out. It's still a 1-run game. Bottom of the 8th inning, and the Giants are trailing by 1 in the home digs. Look at Felix Rodriguez last inning, Tony.
Well, this is the Felix Rodriguez we saw all of last year. Good velocity, good location. Dusty happy to see that. Maybe I got my Rodriguez back. The Rodriguez from last year.
That was just smoke.
And he was bringing it up there pretty good.
Klein and Crudell, the lefty and righty, are getting set for St. Louis. And for Tony La Russa to play mix and match if he has to in this inning. Here's Jeff Kent. He's 0 for 3. He's grounded out and struck out twice. He'll be followed by Damon Minor and then Pedro Feliz. 41,503 looking on a splendid afternoon in San Francisco. So far a little better for the visiting Cardinals. Drive out to left field, but Robinson with room on a back pedal to make the catch. Onto the warning track. He tiptoed. Stung by Kent, but just not deep enough.
Kent hit this ball right on the button. He's had a little bit of topspin on it. Got it out towards the end. Kerry Robinson made a nice play.
And out steps Tony La Russa. You see Dusty. He wanted that one to fall in or probably fall over the fence. So the left-hander Klein will be brought in. And we have a pitching change in the 8th inning in San Francisco. The Cardinals up by a 1 run. 4-3 St. Louis, 1 out 8th inning. And nobody on with Damon Minor in the batter's box and facing the left-hander and a tough lefty in Steve Klein.
Look at those numbers. I mean, he's been, and for the role that he's in, he does a nice job for the Cardinals. He gets left-handers out. He can give you an inning. I mean, he made a mistake the other night on Monday night to David Bell, who hit a 2-run homer off of him. But for the most part, this guy is pretty solid for them.
Damon Minor has taken advantage of a mistake today. A solo home run in the 4th inning off Travis Smith. And he takes that one inside for ball 3.
And he could be the only hitter that he's going to, Minor could be the only hitter that he's going to face too, because Crudell is still down there warming up in the bullpen. And they've got right-hand hitters coming up for the next 3-4 guys. So
Pedro Feliz on deck.
So this might be his only hitter.
Although Klein is the kind of guy who will face lefties as well as righties.
Right.
One man out and the 3-0 from the southpaw. He's green lighted and he tops it fair. And it's corralled by Pujols for the out. So Minor is retired on a 3-0 pitch.
And so you green light one of your power hitters here, 3-0, and he takes the hack on that kind of pitch. And as the ball's rolling down the first base line, he's pointing his finger, foul. That ball's foul, and it wasn't.
As you predicted, Klein will pitch to only one man, and he gets him out. Here comes Crudell, and we'll be back in a moment. In San Francisco, bottom of the 8th inning, and the managerial wheels are turning as Tony La Russa allows Klein to face one hitter, get him out, and here comes Mike Crudell in for his 23rd appearance, and he's been very good in limited doses, a 1.38 ERA. And inside the dugout of the San Francisco Giants with all those available or unavailable ball players, including J.T. Snow, Benito Santiago, that is Stan Conte whispering in the ear of Dusty Baker. Conte is the trainer. He's probably the most overworked guy in baseball these days for the Giants. And he just might be asking Dusty, you know, who do you want to use here? I might be able to have someone ready for you.
Yeah, and Dusty putting himself really in it's a tough position to be in, because if you do use a guy like a Reggie Sanders or Barry Bonds and they get hurt, then you lose those days that they haven't played here.
So you would think highly unlikely it's Bonds. They've already talked about Bonds being unavailable until next week.
I agree with you. I don't think it would be him, but
could be J.T. Snow.
Yep.
Benito Santiago. David Bell hasn't played today. He's getting a day off. Swinging a high fly ball into center field. Feliz got under it, and so will Jim Edmonds. The over-the-shoulder catch for out number 3. So nothing doing for the Giants here in the 8th. We move to the 9th. It is 4-3 St. Louis. Another good one here in San Francisco. The Cardinals with a 1-run lead, and we've come to the 9th inning at Pac-Bell Park. And for those of you tuning in looking for Sports Center, it is on the way as soon as we finish up here in San Francisco. Trey Wingo, Matt Weiner, Cindy Brunson coming your way. Among the stories, where have you gone, Mark McGwire? It's been a quiet retirement for the slugger. Darryl Strawberry speaks out from jail And Ozzie Smith goes home to Watts. Those stories all coming up on SportsCenter. Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien from Pac Bell on another spectacular day here on San Francisco Bay. And another excellent ball game. 4 runs, 7 hits, and an error for St. Louis. 3 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for the Giants. J.D. Drew with a 3-run homer in this one. Damon Minor with a rocket shot home run for San Francisco. But in the 8th inning, Felix Rodriguez came out of the bullpen with Jim Edmonds at second base and nobody out, and proceeded to strike out Pujols, Drew, and Renteria in succession.
Really made it look easy. I mean, he was just nice and easy, letting it go. Good velocity, good location.
And facing Kerry Robinson to start the 9th. He's gone 1 for 3 with a single way back in the 2nd inning. It's the bottom 3rd for the Cardinals. They're trying to grab this one and get out of town, taking 3 out of 4 from the Giants. Big swing and a miss by Robinson. He did not catch up to the fastball. He's not been alone today. And there's the closer, the Cardinal closer, Jason Isringhausen, starting to loosen. Rodriguez with the set-in pitch. Another one smoked on by him. And he right now just looks dominating, Tony Gwynn.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no effort. I mean, he's not just running back and trying to throw it as hard as he can. He's just nice and easy, getting it out on the end of his fingers and just letting her go.
Yeah, off the end of that controversial sore index finger. 1-2 poked down the left field line, slicing away from Martinez, but a foul ball and actually caught down there. By the left-hand relief pitcher of the San Francisco Giants, getting loose down there in the corner. That's Chad Zerbe. A nice play.
They're playing and they're shifted him that way anyway. And Martinez ran over there like he might have had a play, but I guess not, since the guy warming up caught it in the air. So.
Rodriguez trying for his 4th straight strikeout, but Robinson spoils it.
So if you're Dusty Baker, Dave Righetti, you got to really be encouraged by the way Rodriguez is throwing the ball today. Sure, you'd like to get the W and get a win, get back in this ball game, maybe come up with a run in the 9th inning, but in the long haul, knowing that you've got this guy possibly back on track, we can help your bullpen. That's a huge thing, because to go with him, Worrell, and then that'd be a huge thing for him.
2-2. Eli Marrero will step in next. The Cardinals trying to get some wiggle room here in the 9th inning, trying to add on another. Gets his sign from Torrealba, and the 2-2 again fouled off just off the end of the bat, and another fastball blazing in there in the upper 90s by Rodriguez.
And sometimes you go up there and you get in defensive mode where you're just trying to put the bat on the ball. You still have to try to have some discipline to try to hit strikes, because really the last 2 or 3 pitches Robinson swung at haven't been in the strike zone.
Now here comes the 8th pitch of the at bat, so Robinson is extending the right-hander, and he's just going with nothing but the heat at this point. He has a so-so slider. Right now, Torrealba might be thinking about throwing exactly that here. Now, due up for the San Francisco Giants in the bottom of the 9th, it'll be Ramon Martinez, at least scheduled a hit. Then Torrealba, who's gone 2 for 3. And then the pitcher spot, so obviously a pinch hitter coming up. Yeah. And it really depends on who's healthy for Dusty Baker.
Exactly. And he hadn't used David Bell yet today, so might be a candidate, but he might want to use him earlier than that and use somebody else in the pitcher spot. So
the 2-2. High fly center field. Tagged pretty well. Goodwin still going back, though. Still back to make the catch. It's windy and all sorts of sunshine. So Goodwin with a battle on his hands and a crack of the bat, but he hauled it in for the first out.
I thought that the way that sounded off the bat, like he might have got that, but Goodwin runs it down. One of the things that we need to maybe look at, I don't remember him throwing a slider since he's come in the game. So maybe that might be the pitch that gives that hand a little, makes it sore. So he's just going to stick with trying to locate his heater today.
That's all he's done. Here's Marrero. He's 0 for 3. And he gets the heat. Marrero with a pair of strikeouts, one in the second inning and another in the sixth.
Well, you could hear Torriello's glove pop all the way up here.
Yeah, speaking of sore hands.
Exactly.
Eduardo Perez will pinch hit next for Tony La Russa. 4-3 St. Louis. We're in the ninth. There's a breaking ball.
That looked like a changer. You really see him slow his motion down from up here. I wasn't watching the monitor that time. I was just looking at him. And that's the slider right there. He slowed his motion down. And
Sports Center coming your way next, right after we finish up. Well, it's been an excellent day of baseball in San Francisco. High fly ball lifted to left field. And Martinez, who's been flawless out there in his first ever performance in the major leagues in the outfield, he makes another catch. And they're 2 away. He's made every play.
And really looks kind of comfortable out there. It hadn't really been a struggle for him. He's getting himself in position, getting his body under it, under the baseball, and been able to make the play. So Dusty probably making himself a note. Okay, Martinez. Okay in left field. Here's the pinch hitter, Perez.
Checking him off. Eduardo at 211, 6 homers. And he's driven in 14. Vina would follow, but the bases are empty. There's a drive out to right center, deepest part of the park. Here comes Dunston to cut it off, and he does. 1, 2, 3 they go. So it's last call for the San Francisco Giants. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Isringhausen, the closer, coming on to try and end it for the Cardinals, who lead it 4-3. Well, the fans, over 40,000 here in San Francisco, hoping the real-life Giants can spring to life here in the bottom of the ninth inning and grab a couple of runs. St. Louis looking to hang on as Izzy comes in. Jason Isringhausen, and he has been very, very good. A .230 earned run average, 23 saves. He has saved all 4 that he's had an opportunity to save since the All-Star break.
Well, this guy's a power pitcher with 3 pitches, fastball, slider, and I call it a knuckle curve. He might call it something else, but just a big breaking pitch right over the top, kind of like Mike Mussina, only with a lot more zip on it.
Ramon Martinez will be the first Giant to face him. With 41,503 looking on a brilliant sunny afternoon, still afternoon here in San Francisco. And so here we go for the Cardinals. 4 runs on 7 hits. For the Giants, 3 runs on 8 hits. Isringhausen, his first pitch of the day. That sails across the plate for strike 1.
It's just a little power, a little slider right at the end. It darts out of the, in the zone, out of the zone.
He'll throw 96, 97 miles an hour. He can bring it too. Fouled off and quickly in the hole. Ramon Martinez.
It's almost unfair. You get a guy like Rodriguez throwing 97, and now this guy, he comes in, Isringhausen comes in, he's throwing 95, 96. He's got 2 or 3 other pitches to go with it, and that's what makes it so tough. You see the Giants are 18 and 13 in 1-run games, which is a good number. That's a good figure.
Yeah, but they're down a run here.
And unfortunately for them, they're down a run and half their rosters in the clubhouse right now.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. He went up the ladder, and Martinez didn't want to go up that many rungs, as it turned out. One away.
Isringhausen just letting her go upstairs. Tough pitch to foul off. For a lot of guys, that's a ball you think you can foul off and possibly get something better on the next pitch. And when you're throwing 95, 96 miles per hour, it's hard to even foul that ball off and to get something else maybe on the next pitch.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about something else and knocking it out of the park, good luck against Isringhausen. When it comes to the big fly, here's Torrealba. But J.T. Snow, one of the walking wounded, and in his case, it's because he's been battling flu-like symptoms. He's on deck. Dusty Baker playing short-handed throughout this series. Torrealba has a good day going. He has 2 hits on the afternoon. He fouls this one away. And matches his career high, incidentally. He is seeking his first ever 3-hit game. And so the St. Louis Cardinals have come here to the Bay and are on the verge, 2 outs away from claiming the series 3-1. Right now with a 3.5 game lead over the Cincinnati Reds in the Central. One pitch foul to the net. And so again, it's advantage Isringhausen.
I don't think there's any question that since the All-Star break, the Cardinals have kind of made a statement, hey, we're going to be there the rest of the way. They played really good baseball. The majority of it has been on the road. And there you see 12 games over 500 and starting to put a little bit of distance, although the Astros won today. Starting to put a little bit of distance, though, between the competitors.
1-2 pitch, chop foul off first base, and you'll be able to catch the Cardinals again on Sunday night on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller and Rick Sutcliffe by his side, with Joe Morgan at the Hall of Fame this particular Sunday with the induction ceremonies. All the gentlemen who have already been inducted, or a lot of them, head on back and celebrate the newest inductees, Ozzie Smith. So it'll be the Cardinals and the Cubs on Sunday night on ESPN. Here's the 1-2 pitch. High topper. Polanco has it. Zings it on over, and there are 2 out. So Isringhausen quickly gets the first 2 in the 9th. And J.T. Snow will step up in a pinch hit capacity with the bases empty.
And even for a guy who plays every day, this is still a tough assignment. Come up here and try to hit Isringhausen. He's been on the bench for 8 innings. You come up here and give your team a chance to hopefully get even in this game. Tough order to fill right here.
Isringhausen looking to save it for Travis Smith, who would go to 4-1. He pitched into the 7th inning today. A good outing for him. Struck out 6. He scattered 7 hits, gave up a couple of runs. The 1-0 pitch. That is right on the black edge of the plate. 1-1.
J.T. Snow took a look at that ball and kind of paused for a second. I don't think he thought maybe that ball was outside, but
well, that one's in the same spot, and that's called a strike.
And that is not even fair.
So now a slightly longer pause for J.T. Snow.
And this ball starts out way up in the zone and plows right in the middle of the plate. Caught it right in the middle of the stance.
This would be save number 100 for Isringhausen in his career, and he's not going to get it on that pitch. 2-2. Again, he came with a fastball.
And even though he missed, he put it in a good spot. He could have, but he didn't. So now we're 2-2.
Did he check? He did not. Strike 3, ball game's over. The Cardinals have defeated the San Francisco Giants by a final score of 4-3. Isringhausen striking out J.T. Snow. He fans 2 in the inning. His 24th save. Smith gets the win. For Tony Gwynn and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dave O'Brien saying goodbye from San Francisco. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. SportsCenter comes your way next.